Whoa. Carl, if you want to come on right now and argue this, I'm more than happy to do it. Then you screeching in the chat, okay? Because you're so fucking wrong on this. You're so wrong on this, okay? Yeah. You have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh no, you guys have turned into such SJWs. It's weird. It's like
I knew that was coming.
Jesus. Like, why? Who cares? Like, honestly, and Adam said it perfectly the other day. He's a fucking commie.
Adam is a commie?
Oh yeah.
Well, listen, that's completely not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair for you to be able to come in here and call. Then why are you losing your shit when I call academic agent a fucking racist?
Wait, Adam, when did you call yourself a commie?
You said when I call you a communist.
Well, listen, if you're not going to define communist and you're going to call me a communist, you shouldn't have any problem with me calling academic agent a racist by my own definition.
Oh, I don't. Got you there. Quackademic agent randomly attacked me and Adam on Twitter.
Yes.
Okay? With he sniped us. He said that he accused us of being Wikipedia Andes. Okay, so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I he's like, he's like, you guys just believe Julius Evola is a bad anti-Semite because you read a Wikipedia article. So I'm like, okay, listen, you guys know me. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one? What's my one autistic superpower? Right.
Mm-hmm. He searches the internet relentlessly.
Yeah, I actually read the stupid garbage that no one ever will fucking bother reading. That's my one superpower. Okay, I can be a fuck up at a lot of things, like making a video timeline.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'll do is read a bunch of bullshit just to tell someone that they're wrong. Okay, that's my one fucking superpower.
That's so true.
I know, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? So I snap back him on Twitter and I'm like, you're full of shit. And I give screenshots from Evola's stuff. And I'm like, no, I've actually read, 2 of his fucking works. Get out of here with your bullshit. I actually read his books. Okay, get out of here with your crap. And he didn't respond to that at all, of course. But then Adam made the mistake of actually trying to engage with Quack and the Quackheads in good faith. Okay, in the replies. But you can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Did
These
I?
people are yeah, you did.
I did.
Because you're like,
because you were like, I blocked him. I blocked him first though.
Well, no, because before you blocked him, you were talking about what you were reading on Audible.
Okay.
And they started.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
They started mocking you.
You're right.
For the actually good books that you read on Audible.
Right. Yeah,
I guess.
I deleted that tweet and I blocked everyone who responded.
Right. So Adam actually did try to engage in good faith,
right?
But you can't do.
It's so funny because
he's and his audience are just crying salty tears like, Sitch is such a meanie head. He won't engage in good faith. When literally, when Adam, and this is before I responded, before I even saw the tweet, because I don't go on Twitter till like late in the day. I refuse. Okay, that's my rule. I don't go on Twitter till late in the day.
Smart.
Yeah, because I need to be productive in the morning. So I see late in the day that Adam has already talked, responded and already tried to be good faith, and his audience is just trolling Adam, and so Adam deletes the tweet and blocks Quack. Okay, which is fine. That would have been the end of it, but no, sir, no. He has to go out and try to take the victory lap. So he takes the screenshot of the Adam block and he says, Carl, I tried to have a talk with Sitch and Adam, but woe is me.
My God.
Adam has blocked me. Whoa. No.
I'm so glad you're telling me this because I knew none of this. I didn't know this.
This is this is the only reason that I even respond to any of this.
That's hilarious.
I saw this. He was like, hey, where is me, Kyle? I tried to have the talk with Adam and Sitch, but now I can't because Adam has blocked me. Whoa! And I was just like, he's trying to make it out to his audience essentially that, he was ready to talk.
Yeah, sure he was. Sure he was.
But we pussied out, which is bullshit because we basically had an open door for him since last year to come on. And he, very famously dodged the fuck out of talking to us. So I snap back on him and I'm like, bitch, stop hiding behind this. I even used your language. I was like, stop hiding behind the skirts of Twitter and passing notes and come talk to us like man. And so he's like, well, he said, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, well, let's talk about why you hate Jewish people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The conversation kind of went downhill from there.
So that's interesting because he did a response video where he basically went through your entire interaction.
Yes.
Just a lying filled response video. And he did make it out like you were the one that brought up like the JQ thing first. And I'm so innocent. You know, I would never, ever, ever say anything derogatory.
I brought up the fact that he doesn't like Jews first, I guess, if that's what he means by that. But he brought up the whole Jewish power thing. I was like, what is So, okay, you're kind of skipping ahead. So he gets very triggered by me wanting to talk about this, why he hates Jews.
But you did say that first, though. That's like a point of contention in the argument, which I want to dispel that point of contention right now, right here, before we go too much further, because like all of our interactions with Quackademic Agent, there's like this thing about, his content that it seems very racially charged. Okay.
Yes. That's true.
Just because you brought this up in this interaction, it's not like you brought it up out of the blue. I mean, you brought it up for a reason.
Well, and also this has been literally my contention with him from the get-go.
Yes.
Was the weird anti-Semitism, yeah.
So him sitting back and going, I would never talk about anything like this in my entire life.
Right.
And Sitch brought it up to make it seem as though this is something that I care about. No, motherfucker. You fucking talk about it all the time. Like I have a million fucking screenshots. People message me and talk about things that you've said and how uncomfortable it makes them feel.
Right.
It's
but it's funny because people and this is what's so weird about this. He got so pissy and his fans got so pissy, like, oh, you can't engage with Quack because when he said, what do you want to talk about? You said you want to talk about, his anti-Semitic beliefs. And I'm sitting here like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? Would you have preferred if I like lied and was like, oh, I just want to talk about like this. Yeah. And then when he shows up on stream, I fucking ambush him. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm being honest from the day one. I'm being honest about what we talk about. I'm not going to ambush fucking anyone. And yet, poor Sitch is cast in a negative light for being honest and upfront about what he wants to talk to Academic Agent about in the beginning. Oh, woe is me, Adam. Whoa.
Yeah. So much for honesty, right?
Right. But so then he, gets all triggered about this stuff. And I don't remember the exact breakdown of the conversation because it spans like multiple days. And it's so funny because every day would be like, we go back and forth and then I would just stop, responding because I have better shit to do in my life than respond to Quack every day. And every next day when I go back on Twitter, he would start it up again. He would just randomly tag me in another tweet and be like, Sitch, look at me, interact with me. Please give me attention, Daddy. Give me attention, Daddy Sitch. And I'd be like, okay, somebody wants another spanking. I don't know what you want from me. Okay. I'm assuming that he's like a masochist or something because every time we interact on Twitter, I just spank him and then I stop and I go away. And then he's like, no, Sitch, I need the paddle again. All right, you want another one? And so we got this so bad. We got in this whole long conversation about I don't remember. He brought up Jewish sectional interest.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and here's another thing too. That's really annoying. If people notice, it's so funny. He's never actually directly refuted any of the claims I've made against him.
Right.
He never says, when I'll say like, oh, didn't you say this? Didn't you say this? Didn't you say to never trust Jews? Didn't you say that, you wish you could deport 2% of the population, referring to Jews, out of the country. Whenever I say these things, he never refutes them. If you pay attention, he never says, I didn't say that. He never says, I don't have any problem with Jews. He never says, I don't think that Jews, don't have some degenerate animating spirit like Evola does. He never directly refutes any of these claims, which is very suspicious. Right. In the immortal words, don't start no shit.
Oh yeah.
No shit.
I do like that saying.
Right. And so I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what did I say that like really. Oh, okay. I said, sorry, Quackers. I have better things to do on my Sunday than have a very serious Twitter conversation about the Jewish question.
Right. Oh, wow.
Okay. And he just lost it. His brain just melted. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here's his tweet. Let me read you his tweet. He says, so now we are maybe 72 hours into this PSA Sitch, and we have yet to establish that Jews are in fact a group with interests? Or are we still maintaining like they're a random collection of individuals who just happen to work at similar jobs in institutions with similar names?
First of all, that is racist as fuck. By any definition of racism you want to throw on the table, that statement is racist. Like if you want to say that Sheldon Adelson and
George Soros
and George Soros are exactly the same because they're both Jewish, you've been smoking the fucking quack pipe. You're a fucking quackhead. Like there are right wing Jewish people and there are left wing Jewish people.
Of course,
just like there are right wing every race people and left wing every race people. So it's just that's so bizarre to even say.
Right, and it was funny because when I asked him, I said before this, it was like the day or two before this, I said, "What are these examples of Jewish power?" Okay. Which he was like, he's so shy to answer any of these questions that he wants us to supposedly talk about. But so one of the quackheads was like just schizoid posting like 30 links of this stuff. And you know what these links were? They were all like, look at the disproportionate amount of Jews in politics. Look at the disproportionate amount of Jews who donate money to politicians. Look at the disproportionate amount of Jews who run media companies. Look at it was just all the same crap. I've heard a million times about the JQ. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
Look at all these Jews in position of power, Sitch, and tell me there's not a Jewish intersectional interest. So.
Yeah, it comes off as completely conspiratorial.
Right.
But.
So I was just like, I'm like, okay. So apparently me tweeting out that I had better things to do than talk about the JQ on Sunday, because I have a stream to do.
Right, yeah.
Okay. We had a lovely stream.
It was great, yeah.
Pisco came on. Versus Pisco. Pisco came on at the end.
Yeah.
And that apparently made his brain melt, and he had a full meltdown. And then he went on, he was so butthurt. He was so triggered. He was so mad. That he had a full 2-hour-ish long stream where all I did was go through and bring up all of the tweets and read them and just get so butthurt, and it was so hilarious. I listened to it and I was dying laughing the whole time. My favorite part is when he brought up the poll meme about the black guy who thinks he's white, and he was just reading it. He's like, and he was so seething. He's like, I don't understand. Someone explain this poll meme to me. And I was just dying of laughter. So that was hilarious. Thank you so much, Quack, if you're listening. That stream was pure gold. It was so fucking funny.
My favorite part of the stream was when he actually stopped the stream and started talking to me. Only I had paused the stream and I was hanging out with my wife in the yard.
Because you were in the chat, you said something in the chat. You talked directly to you, and you're like, not even fucking there.
Exactly. So I come back.
Yes.
And I'm listening to the stream on 1.75. That's that's the sweet spot for me. So
right.
And Yeah, he's like yelling at me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, someone made a meme I sent to you. I don't know if you want to bring it up or not.
Yeah, I can bring it up.
It's irrelevant.
The thing is, they're going to accuse us of not addressing any of the substance. So I can't. Well, I know, but I kind of do. For me, and I know this is more for the audience than the quack. This is more for the quack heads than the Quackademic agent, because there's this thing, and you did accuse him of being what, like a victim, playing into the victim complex because he can't talk openly about his racist views.
Well, no, what I said was he's a hypocrite because he hides his beliefs and yet simultaneously criticizes, countries and government styles and politicians of hiding their beliefs just as much. And so he then creates this like pathetic justification where it's like, well, it's okay if I do it, essentially. He's casting himself like, because I am in an oppressed group, it's okay for me to hide my power level.
Well, wait, but the thing that I want to zero in on is, like, there's a lot of, woke people out there that accuse rank and file conservatives of being racist.
Right.
So, they want to talk about things without being accused of being racist.
Right.
So, but this is a tough thing because they don't see themselves as racist. They see themselves as, we don't hate Jewish people. They're an interest group that we're politically engaged with, and politically embattled with. So they don't see their derogatory terms and whatnot.
Right. But this
racist.
gets into like the, people can criticize America's support of Israel without being anti-Semitic.
Of course.
I literally did a video back when I made videos about how it was ridiculous in Texas and in these other states where they would pass laws that would make it so you couldn't be in favor of the boycott, diversity, or whatever it's called, boycott, divestment, sanction, the BDS movement, basically, which is, like, don't give money to Israel movement. Because I think if a private individual or a private company doesn't want to support Israel, then that's their fucking right as an American citizen not to do that.
Well,
I don't have a problem with people like criticize. I don't fucking agree with a lot of shit Israel does either. I don't have no problem with people criticizing the actions of Israel or whatever. But when you say shit like, I have 3 rules and number 3 is never trust the Jews.
Right. Yeah, that's racist, obviously.
Right. Or you believe, like Avola, that Jews have some sort of animating spirit of degeneration that basically destroys all of, the masculine European culture and is inherently destructive. Yeah, that's a little like fucking anti-Semitic, Adam. It's a little bit more than
I do. No, I totally agree with you. The thing is, there's like a Sitch's Law thing going on here where they don't see that as racist, and then they turn around and want to give us a hard time because they say you're calling us racist just like the SJWs do. Right. Even though by our definition, you are fucking.
Well, no,
that's
by
totally
any definition.
Right, totally. Yeah.
They're just lying because then they do this like Richard Spencer shit where they say, "Oh, I'm Richard Spencer. I don't hate black people. I just want them all removed from my country."
Right. No,
like,
I get it. I totally get it. I get it.
Right.
There is a there's a platform asymmetry where they cannot come out and debate. They want to debate the JQ. This is the thing that they want to fucking argue about on the internet. I don't, this is the thing, because we're in a weird situation here because, I firmly believe, and this is my belief, I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe that Academic Agent doesn't want to have any sort of debate with us because he knows fucking Sitch is going to go in. He's going to bring up every screenshot of every single tweet. Like, he's going to go straight to What do you mean by this? What does this mean? Okay.
Well, I'm only going to show it if he denies it. If he doesn't deny it, then we can talk about it normally.
Well, he did say in his, Spurg out video, he did say that he is not anti-Semitic.
Yeah, but he doesn't exactly. He makes these broad claims. I'm not racist. I'm not anti-Semitic. Never denies any of the specifics though, because as you said, he just has this weird, ultra specific definition of anti-Semitism that no one actually fits under unless they're like a Nazi or something, going around trying to gas the Jews.
And there's a bit of a like pro-felicity thing going here too, because you see people in the comments that are like, "What? You're not an ethno-nationalist? What the fuck? Why am I watching your shit?"
I know.
Yeah, so
I know.
so I'm like, so the thing is, I just like, fuck, I don't want to debate ethno-nationalists, okay? If you guys want to debate someone, reach out to Vosh, okay?
Okay,
reach out to
Whoa. Carl, if you want to come on right now and argue this, I'm more than happy to do it. Then you screeching in the chat, okay? Because you're so fucking wrong on this. You're so wrong on this, okay?
Yeah.
You have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, and Carl, if you do come on, I've already done this with no bullshit. It's not fun, okay? It's not fucking fun.
No, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to fucking go through the screenshot. This is what pissed me off too. I'm not here to cancel quackers, okay?
Yeah,
I could have made a video last fucking year with all the crazy shit he says if I want to cancel him. I don't have any interest in canceling him. What I have an interest in is people who are lying about what they believe in order to suck people down into their ideology. That's what I have a fucking problem with. If people are open about their hatred or their anti-Semitism, I don't care.
Yeah.
Then just be fucking open about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't lie about it.
Well, the point of lying about it is so that you can bring naive young people into your audience and like slowly win them over to your, what I would say is a pretty detestable position. Now, I think we probably have people in our audience that walk that line, but we are trying to bring them away from that position.
Right.
We're trying to show them.
Listen.
Yeah.
I'm not a soy cuck. I've never in my entire life ever told anyone they can't be friends with someone.
Yeah, no doubt. But who did? Who did? Who did that, Sitch?
Like
who did that? Who did that?
Oh, so I never got to finish my story.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
So the way that this stream ends, the way that this stream ends is that he basically is so mad that he says anyone who interacts with Sitch or Adam will be banned from ever not only being on my stream, but even in my audience.
Right, yeah.
And he's literally today said that he's trying to figure out a way so that he can automatically block everyone from viewing his content that's subscribed to us.
Yeah. And he extended that to you, Carl, as well. He said he wants to talk to you in private about, he wants to put the thumb screws to you to say, listen, Carl, it's them or me, like some fucking weird ex-girlfriend shit.
That's
it's
right.
Like,
I forgot. Listen, I apologize, Carl. I forgot. You literally can't come on stream because if you did,
yeah, you're going to get banned. You're probably going to get blacklisted just for being in our chat right now.
So I understand what you're saying.
Don't worry, listen, Carl. We won't narc you off, okay? Your secret is safe with us.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, I understand. Carl's saying, just forget that he's racist. Assume he's racist. Just argue with him about liberalism. And listen, I understand that position.
Right.
But I don't want to do that.
I don't either.
I'm not really interested in talking to him about liberalism. I'm more interested in talking to him about the JQ and all this other crazy shit.
There are enough.
Just me.
There are enough normal people that have problems with liberalism that we can argue with them. We don't need some insane fucking weirdo to argue with that. Like, why?
Yeah, I'll argue. Yeah. I know we argue with you about liberalism. We argue with Aiden about liberalism.
Yes, totally.
We argue with Dave about liberalism.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of people that don't like liberalism I can talk to.
Yeah.
That's not really my interest with quackers over here. So.
And also, I mean, quackers, I haven't even told my story that I told before the stream. So,
yeah.
I want my backstory on the record too, because like this whole, like distancing myself from quackers happened before the Tomboy Abs thing ever happened, because I started, you know, I read the book of Stephanie Kelton's book on MMT, and I started reading up on economics, not to challenge Academic Agent, but to have a better understanding of economics, because everyone was coming at me on the UBI thing. So I started reading a lot of economics books. And as I'm reading a lot of economics books, I'm losing more and more respect for quackers, because I'm starting to realize, you know, quackers has this idea of economics that's really very fringe and not, you know, mainstream economics, but he pitches it like it's mainstream economics. So while this is going on, you know, I'm making videos about MMT, and quackers is poisoning his audience against me. So I used to listen to quackers videos. I would show up in his chat. I knew that there was a lot of audience overlap because Carl comes on the show regularly. So I would jump in his chat and hang out, say, well, hey, what's up? What's going on? Right. And they were just vicious towards me. You're a commie. You're a fucking communist. Get that commie out of there. Like, just insults. And I said, okay, Quackademic Agent has turned me into a villain on his channel. I reached out to him privately on Twitter like an adult. And I said, what the fuck, dude? Why does your audience hate my guts? Right? This doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you and I have been on streams together. I used to do your fucking cigar stream
before the abs video.
Long before the abs video. Right. Yes, long before the abs video. And he said, "Oh, they think you're a communist because of the MMT stuff." And I think, wow, I wonder where they got that idea from. Wait, how would they think something like that? Because it seems like maybe they got it from you, fucking bitch. So I just, like, ever since then, I started distancing myself. I mean, I did make some response videos on MMT. I made a video to his MMT video because it's terrible. And I was hoping that like this back and forth would turn into something more interesting about economics, but it didn't. It turned into this, whatever this is, this race thing. So I'm done with Academic Agent. Like I've done my best. I don't owe him anything. He doesn't owe me anything. I blocked him because like he does this weird thing where he does snipe at you on Twitter for no apparent reason. Like he wants engagement because I think he wants to build his channel that way. But I'm not interested. I'm not interested. So if Sitch wants to debate him on the JQ, knock yourself out. I would, Carl, I think you should host that on your channel and moderate it for us. A knockdown, brawl out, old school style, Quackademic Agent versus PSA Sitch on whether or not the Jews run the world. Okay, that would be right. That would be entertaining. I mean, your channel would probably get nuked, but whatever.
Finally, Quackers has blocked me. I'm assuming that means the saga is over.
Hopefully.
I'm so sorry.
I feel
Harry,
very honored.
How do we pronounce your name, Harrian?
Harrian is Harrian, yeah.
Okay, Harrian. What's up? Welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
You want to introduce yourself? You're a YouTuber, correct?
I am a YouTuber, yes.
Okay.
Hopefully it's, I don't know if it's in the description, whatever, but you can find me by the name on screen, Harrian Gladiv. I'm a YouTuber, generally classically liberal, as Sargon would say.
Based.
Very based. Thank you very much, Sitch. I also have there's a political magazine that I contribute to called the wellingtonproject.co.uk, where I put articles to as well. And people are free to send articles there as well if they feel up to it. But yes, I have been in AA circle for some time, and was one of the first people to be banished from said circles for being far too funny for those lot.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I think he called you the Tory boys. I don't know what that means because I don't.
So
we're American,
man. Yeah. I really wish I could tell you what that meant. But yeah, I'm apparently one of those people, and some of his minions, I guess he'd call them, have called me that as well. But I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? And they can never say beyond it's an insult. I mean, they have a term of. AA specifically said to me, you don't need to support the Tories or the Conservative Party in the UK to be a Tory boy. So already that's kind of falling in the first hurdle.
Do you know? Do you know what a quack is in American speak?
Yeah, it's like a psychiatrist that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, someone who's full of shit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so.
I watch Frasier. Don't worry.
The Quackademic age. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah. I'm gonna. To be fair, I'm gonna be as fair to Academic Agent as I can be, which is quite hard.
All right. Well, we'll see you. We'll see you next time.
I mean, yeah. Well, if I'm not blocked by him by the end of this, it's amazing.
Well, he has to block you because you're talking to us.
Oh, I thought you would have thought so a couple of years ago, but he did a whole stream specifically about me where he said he'd pay me a $5 because I sent him his £5 super chat. Never got that $5. So whatever AA says, you just can't take with a pinch of salt.
Right. I know.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, you seem to be much more, maybe moderate is the right term in your views when it comes to this stuff. I messaged you about elite theory because elite theory keeps coming up. And I mean, I've read the Machiavellians, which everyone tells me I have to read. And even I read the comments on Quackademic Agent's book, and many of the reviews of the book compare it to the Machiavellians. I think it's James Burnham is the author, if I remember correctly. So there's an accusation that I'm getting from a friend of mine, goes by the name Carl Benjamin, that we're not really ready to address ideas and arguments. I mean, I think he even said in the chat, just take that he's racist for granted and talk about the arguments. Okay. Well, we don't need to talk about about the arguments, but go ahead.
I'm not against doing that. It's a strange thing with the English more than anything, but
I feel like first of all, I feel like they're only doing this to make it seem like their arguments are so intellectually high-minded that we, as low-life plebes, cannot understand what they're talking about. Yet every time we spell out their argument, they seem to agree. It seems like we do understand their argument.
Yeah, I can completely see the issue. It's less of a they're above you and more to they're the side of you, which I think I said in the DMs. I'm like, you're talking past each other. And it's not that they're at a higher level than you. It's just that it's different kind of to the side. It's kind of on an intellectually
this is what I wanted to push back about, because you said, and other people have said this, that we're talking past one another, and I don't see it that way. I think that we fully understand their arguments, where they're coming from. I don't think they understand our arguments. I think it's more like a right-wing SJW thing, where we often talk to left-wingers. We talk to Pisco on Sunday, and it's pretty obvious he's in an ideological echo chamber. He has no idea what the other side believes or wants or any of that stuff.
So that I think that's definitely an issue with AA. I don't think that's as much an issue with Carl or Sargon or whatever we call him by on this channel. I'm sure you're personal friends with him.
We call him Proto-American. That's what we call him.
Of course you do. And I'm sure you'd call me that, and I'd rage at that myself, but I'm being polite.
People are upset about that, and we had an interesting.
Really,
yeah, we had a comment that was like, you guys went off on Canadians for like 30 minutes, and if we went off on Jews like that for 30 minutes, we'd be in a lot of trouble. And I started thinking, I'm like, when was the Holocaust of Canadians?
That person is a liar. Okay, it's whenever we go off on like Canadians, it's such obviously a fucking joke. Okay, like don't give me a break.
Right.
Well, yeah, but if you, I mean, again, if you did that about Jews, it
seems like less of a joke.
Yes,
it does. Yeah, exactly.
Because of the Holocaust.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
I totally understand that. It's but I suppose this is where it's kind of meeting Mr. Fun halfway in the middle with AA. He's trying. The reason he goes straight away for what do you think of the Holocaust, for lack of a better term, is because he knows you'll react badly to that.
Right.
Yeah, especially
badly in his estimation for his audience, but not badly for.
You surely have a more kind of disgust reaction to the Holocaust than the Armenian genocide, say, or the Boer War concentration camps that the British.
Well, I mean, I'm not Armenian, so I think that's fair. But
no, but you are of another tribe, I guess. It's the Holocaust is seen by most people in the West as the ultimate evil.
Yes,
I mean, Americans, they saw the camps, were like, take so many pictures that no one can deny it. But the problem with kind of AA's camp is, we'll try and downplay it to the point where it's another just fact in history, which I'm not necessarily against doing that when it comes to a certain point, but I can see why at the same time. It was basically an industrialized kind of plan to destroy an entire,
right.
I'd say race, but at the same time they also put, certain other people of I want to say low IQs, but I'm quite drunk at the moment, so
they tried to genocide.
Yes, exactly. And Jews were near the top of that list. Exactly. And I mean, I recently watched a British documentary called The World at War, which does have an entire episode dedicated to the Holocaust. And it's like, you can't downplay this. I think even if you were trying to be historically accurate, it would seem that the Jews were unfairly treated.
You think?
I do think, yes. I'm one of the good guys.
What a brave statement.
Yeah, I know. I'm stunning and brave. But it's a weird thing with kind of AAs. Like, they are trying to almost have historical revisionism where they're trying to say Britain were the bad guys, Churchill was a bad man, at the same time saying Hitler was bad as well, which I know is a brave and stunning statement as well.
They argue that the UK was wrong in World War II?
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I know. Which, from a British perspective, I'm like, no. I've seen the result of this. I am very much on the side of Nazis were bad, not just because of the Holocaust, but for other reasons as well.
That's the Hassan take. It's like, if it wasn't for the Holocaust, Hitler would have been okay, right? Or the Keynes's take.
Oh yeah, and a few people saying the dissident right are just SJWs but on the right wing, and I don't know if you know the channel Don the Pleb, but he's basically saying they're leftists but saying gays are bad. And that is essentially their reasoning for it. Even though they have gays and trans on their streams, they have incredible copes to cope arguments to deal with that.
Right.
An example is that there's a trans person who goes on AA's channel quite a lot. And we basically say, you basically couldn't exist without modern medicine, modern thinking. We accept trans people now. And their reply, I'm not going to give away their gender because I'm very polite, but their reply was basically, under Indian ancient wisdom, I'd be seen as a god.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like, well, great, but I'm not Indian. So what's your reply to that? They seem to take all the positives of modern culture and at the same time want to go back to a time where they couldn't exist.
Yeah.
Which is the same with with a lot of people in those circles. And I will say, with I listened to the whole argument, data distributist, there was a lot of talking past each other there. For example, I think when you took Dave saying we need segregated societies, he didn't quite say that, but you know what I mean. He wasn't meaning
societies,
on yes. He wasn't necessarily saying on lines of race, but it was more on morality. Right. Which when it comes to Jonathan Haidt, I think you can more understand. It's
did you listen to both conversations or just the first one?
Yeah, but don't trust my memory at this point.
Because I mean, I understand in the second conversation, we said, I understand he doesn't want to segregate according to race specifically. My only problem with what he was saying is that I think if communities of people who have some shared moral belief want to live together and work together, I have literally no problem with that. You can do that in America. The only question is that he wants it to be legal for these societies and communities to basically not allow other people in, and that's where I'm like, I don't support that.
So I don't have too much of a problem with that. I mean, would you have a problem with a covenantive community that doesn't allow communists in?
What do you mean?
That question.
You could put a sign on your door at your shop that says no communists can shop here.
I don't know. You have a town the size of I don't know America too well. I don't know Central Park in New York. You have a town the size of Central Park. Small town, and they're saying anyone found to be a communist can be thrown out. I mean,
I don't support that at all. No,
and that's fair. I mean, I'm kind of on the side where it's, as long as they have a place to go to, I'm not against throwing them out. It's like, you're going to be thrown out of here, but you can go to this town that is a commune that's communist. But to be fair, I think this is totally unrealistic, and I think we have to see things on a national level anyway. But I think that's what Dave was going for.
We have freedom of association, so I mean, obviously you can have private organizations that discriminate based on whatever you want.
Yeah, well, it's the problem with private property, which is why I'm not an ANCAP or a libertarian. Just look, this person has private property; they can do what they want on it. But they're in. I mean, in the UK, we call them NIMBYs, like not in my backyard. So if they're in your town and you don't like them being there, you can just throw them out. But it's like, but that's their private property. Like, what do you do with that? And this is why I'm more of a libertarian on a kind of national level. I'm closer to a Thatcherite than anything. Or a Reaganite, I guess, in the American context.
How dare you?
So where
I'm sorry.
Where are we talking past? I mean, this is a thing because people will say that we're talking past, and Dave's argument is so high-minded, intellectual that it's just beyond our capability. But I mean, this doesn't seem like a very difficult argument to break down. He's saying, it's unfair that I can't set up a community that I can discriminate against people even walking our streets. And what's so difficult? I mean, we would say that there's reasons for that. And we understand that that's what he wants to do and that it's illegal. And we understand that he's making an argument that it's not only illegal, it's immoral. I mean, but we understand that. We just disagree.
So I was thinking about this today, and I think a main difference is that I guess you're thinking of laws or association on a national level, and Dave's more thinking of it on a county level. If that makes sense. So Dave's saying
that doesn't change us. That doesn't change our ability to understand what he's saying.
No, I
don't. I still disagree, regardless of the level that we're talking about.
Well,
I think
and
that's
also
the main crux.
So there's that argument. There's also the argument that liberalism provides too much individual freedom, and it leads to wokeism, which is people can just pick to be whatever gender they want to be, and that's not a difficult argument to understand. I just clearly articulated it. We can debate that argument all the time, as much as you want.
I also think that's a bit of a cope, because we've basically had liberalism in the UK since the 1800s. I mean, that's why we had the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
Liberalism is, at its core, an economic train of thought. And when it comes to politics, it all gets muddled up because, as I'm sure you two are aware, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's neoliberal." Can you actually point down what people mean by neoliberal? Because all neoliberal means is a reaction to the Keynesianism of the 70s, even.
Right.
Especially when it comes to the UK. Like Thatcher came in and she was neoliberal in quotes, in terms that she completely destroyed what the trade unions could do. She reduced state power in the terms of what they could influence with the market. It basically turned into a kind of, not ANCAP heaven, but a lot closer to that than what we had. But a lot of people say, "Oh, neoliberalism is mass immigration." It's just that's just wrong. Margaret Thatcher was against mass immigration. She was basically on terms with Enoch Powell, which a lot of people seem to completely ignore.
Well, listen, I don't know if you know this, but Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan were both lefties. Okay.
Oh, they were absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure they slept together as well.
Well, we didn't know that.
Wow.
Well, neither did I. It's a theory. Who knows? But everything's a neoliberal theory.
Of course. That's just a theory. Anyways, hello, Carl.
Hey,
Oh
guys,
no!
how's it going?
Did you send? What are you doing?
He's been blacklisted.
Oh my God.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I
is
just
it-
got
who-
Carl blacklisted off of AA stuff
Who-
forever now.
Who-
Yes,
who
you
is
have.
this-
Thank
who-
you very
who is-
much.
Who is this Sargon character? I've never heard of him in my life.
Yeah. How do I change my profile picture on this?
I'm wondering that as
I
well.
think you
What do
have to sign in and have like a Zoom account and all this.
I'm gonna
garbage.
bring.
Alright,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
bring
doing
up. I'm gonna bring up an avatar. I'll
not
bring
doing
up
that.
whatever avatar you want, Carl.
I don't really care. But anyway, right.
No, but
So-
I am.
oh
I
my
am putting.
God.
I am putting Carl Benjamin
Jesus.
blacklisted from Academic Agent's channel as
That
the,
is fine.
Carl
my
gone to
God,
blacklist.
You're on the
Fucking-
base side of the fence, Sargon. How do you feel?
Oh no, you guys have turned into such SJWs. It's weird. It's like
I knew that. I knew that was coming.
Jesus.
I
Like
knew that
why?
was
Who
coming.
cares? Like oh my God, yeah. Like
Who cares if
cares?
somebody listen? Who cares if CRT people
yeah,
hate
no,
white people?
seriously.
Who cares?
That's not
Yes.
anything different to being an SJW.
Oh,
I can't
yes.
talk to this person until they confess their sins of being a racist. It's like, oh God, are we not over this yet?
I want to point out that is not my position.
That's not
But
my
then
position
you
either. My
weren't
position
involved
is
in
I
this
don't-
conversation. So
my
I'm not
position
trying to
is
be
I
right.
Well,
don't
I
really-
am so sorry.
I don't really care to talk to him about other issues. Why do I care to talk to him
Well,
about this other crap?
because there's a reason that we keep losing to the left.
What's that?
The fact that we honestly, and Adam said it perfectly the other day, he's a fucking commie.
Adam is a commie.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
and Dev in the
is a
chat
commie,
too.
yeah.
Dev, you're a commie.
Define.
Dev is a commie. Okay.
Right,
You have,
right.
you have
hang
to
on, hang on.
define communist if
No,
you're
I
going to
don't.
make
I'm
that
gonna,
kind
I'm
of
gonna quote you
accusation.
directly.
Well, listen,
Well, I was thinking
that's
about this
completely
the other
not
day,
fair.
said
It's not
Adam
fair.
Friendly.
It's not fair
And
for
don't-
you
it's
to
not
be able
fair
to
to
come
quote
in
you
here and
directly.
call.
Yes, it
Then why are you losing your shit when I call Academic Agent a fucking racist?
Wait, Adam, when did you call
Why you
yourself
just
a
you shit when I
commie?
call you a communist?
Well, listen, if you're not going to define communist and you're going to call me a communist, you shouldn't have any problem with me calling Academic Agent a racist by my own definition.
Oh,
don't.
Got you there.
He did, yeah. I
I'm
just
literally
fucking-
here to say I don't care
I'm
that you
picking
think
up
he's a
on
racist.
Okay.
And I
I
don't care
know.
that he thinks you're a communist, right?
Okay.
But they're you know, I'm still talking to you even though you're a communist, Adam.
Well, I'm still talking
I'm
to you,
still
even
friends
though.
with Dev, even though he's a communist. Like, you know, I'm not a bigot.
Yeah,
A bigot
There you
is
go.
literally someone who's intolerant of other people's ideas. I'm not a bigot.
yeah.
Like, you know,
Sargon, you're intolerant of communists. Come on.
It's true.
well,
Let's
I
be
mean, I
real.
wouldn't hire one, but that you can't be racist to call communists. So,
You're
You know,
against them
well-
being teaching communist shit in schools, aren't you?
oh yeah, absolutely.
You bigots.
Wow.
It's not saying that
Jeez.
you know well, no, I'm saying they're necessarily bad people. But the point is, Adam,
They
you're a
are necessarily
communist.
bad people.
No, you literally said on the stream the other day, right? You were thinking about it, and the only way that you differ from a socialist is in method rather than intent, right?
When did this happen?
He said this the other day on the stream. I was watching it.
I did,
How did
yeah.
I miss this? Was I playing video games or something?
I,
God,
I don't
holy
know,
shit,
but
I
this
need more
Adam's
wine.
just confirmed
Let
that he said
let
this. I know,
first
I was just-
first let Carl lay out the straw
Okay.
man of my argument.
Let's hear the straw man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no,
It's
this
a
isn't
fucking
about. this isn't really an argument you've made. This is just you stating your own opinion, right? So
well, in a very specific way. Obviously, the socialists are in favor of abolishing property rights, which I'm not in favor of.
But like you said, it's the intent. You think that you both have the goal in mind of materially improving everyone's conditions.
True. Okay.
Yes.
Now I remember what you're talking. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So what? That's like everyone though.
Okay. Well,
not people on the right, according to Carl. That's why I'm glad he's here.
Hang on.
Absolutely not.
I'm here now as moderator. Come on.
Right.
Sargon, you have a good argument against this. I know you do.
Sure, because there's nothing to stop where that goes, right? And so you'll make an argument saying, well, wouldn't it be nice if we had universal healthcare? And they're like, well, what do you want people to starve to death? And then you've lost the argument because you've agreed that we should be improving people's material conditions, but you don't want to give them free food.
That's a terrible
slippery
argument.
slope.
That's a terrible argument.
You
that's the worst argument you can ever make.
It's literally a fallacy.
It doesn't matter because people are not like logical
You can do
beings.
better.
That's true.
People are emotional.
We're going to give you. We're going to give you a second. We're going to give you a second shot here, Carl. Okay.
Now,
that was the shittiest argument
you're not
ever.
Listening. This is why
Please give us a better argument than that.
And you don't. This is why they're important and you're not.
Okay.
This is why they command who gets deplatformed and who doesn't.
But listen,
you are making an argument in the same direction, and they're making a strong. And this has been happening from the beginning of time.
You can't just wait.
My original argument was, we both have the goal of improving people's material conditions. We just have different ideas about how to achieve that. And you came in here and you said, well, the socialists have this idea of how to achieve it. You know, everyone should have universal health care and the government should pay for it. Well, I have a different idea about how we should achieve that than they do. So you're not even, this is literally a straw man of my argument.
Yeah, but you agree on the end goal.
Yes, I do. Of course. Hold on.
That's like saying like Nazis believed water was good. So therefore.
Yeah.
Water being good isn't a core tenet of Nazism.
We want to give.
I don't really see what that's.
Nazis had the goal of providing.
The point being,
you're
aiming at the same
one at a time, guys.
Sorry. Yeah.
You're aiming directly at the same thing, right? Now, I agree that your methods are different.
Yes.
But the thing is, James Burnham spent literally the last half of Suicide of the West trying to show that, look, liberals and socialists are basically the same because they fundamentally have the same belief. And he spends a lot of time in this book, like, proving this point. And it's just so funny to me that I'd finished the book like the day before I watched this stream. You just blurt it out. And it's just like as if like the liberals would never have said that they are trying to get to the same place as the communists. That would be antithetical. But you're saying it now.
So to add on to this point as well, in terms of Jonathan Haidt, which I know, Adam, you're a big fan of, the progressives and the libertarians are basically for the same thing. That's what Sargon says there.
Yes.
And Adam, you're on the side of the libertarians, basically, I think is what Sargon's saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carl.
Well, no, because he's literally saying he wants the same things the communists want. And Burnham points. Burnham goes to great lengths to point out that this
I don't think it is.
Because I know what I understand. I understand where this conversation is going. Okay.
But look, it informs the way that you deal with things, right? You talk to people like the serfs and whoever with a modicum of respect. Like, and that's wild because I can't believe anyone thinks the serfs deserve respect, right? But you treat academic agent
you want to be
like
on
he's fucking crazy, even though he's a PhD, right? The serfs is literally a bottom-feeding scum.
The serfs is not a PhD. Don't tease me
absolutely
like that.
not.
That's what Sargon's saying.
But this is the point. It's
he has a
informing
check
your
mark on
judgment
Twitter.
on the
What are you
quality
talking
of the person. Is wild because the serfs is basically going in the same direction as you.
Sitch, why is
okay? First of all, wait. First of all,
we're gish galloping here.
After the original
Are you
Tomboy
not capable of understanding what I'm saying?
Wait. Pause. Everyone shut the fuck up.
Let's not jump to that.
I got two things to say. First is, if Quackademic Agent came on stream after the original Tomboy Abs thing, like when we invited him to, we would have all been completely polite to him, at least unless, the conversation gets heated in conversation. I'm always generally polite to fucking everyone that we talk to at first. I'm not going to the second someone comes on, be like, let me bend you over the barrel and fucking ream you. Okay, that's not how I engage. I'm not Vosh. That's not how I engage in these conversations. And then the second thing here, which is that what you're doing with the straw man argument with Adam saying that he's a communist is ridiculous, because all he said was, listen, Adam Friended, like almost every human being in existence, wants people to have better material conditions. And we just have these different disagreements about how to get there. Adam is not saying that material conditions and the benefit of it is the only thing that people should be striving for. Adam also believes people should have spiritual and philosophical and moral well-being in their lives, liberalism all this stuff. He was just talking about this one point.
How does liberalism argue for that?
Individual freedom and liberalism equal protection under the law.
Liberalism argues
exactly. It doesn't
provide. No, liberalism does argue for that. It doesn't provide for that. Okay, it says you go do that yourself.
Okay,
provides.
But liberalism has literally nothing to say about that. Right. The only thing that liberalism can talk about are material conditions, because it is effectively a game theory, and that's a problem because that is consequentialist. Right. No, we end up being entirely cynical and arbitrary, really, whereas the right wing are arguing from a deontological position that has moral precepts and a virtue ethicist position that has actual moral content.
Well, I'm a virtue ethicist,
right?
I'm a virtue ethicist.
Material conditions, and you've not talked
I
about
never said I only care about material conditions. I think a person's philosophy can inform how they interpret their material conditions. So philosophy is very important.
They can. And this is the limitation of liberalism. This is the problem with liberalism. And this is why liberalism keeps losing to communism, because actually liberalism
keeps winning to communism.
Not really.
In what way?
But wait a minute. This is we've had this this argument. I'm so bored of this argument, so I didn't want to fucking talk to Quack about this argument. We've had a million times. Okay, liberalism is the referee. Okay, it's just putting out the rules to say this is how you get along. Because when we start having society dictate and say this is the strict code of exact religion that everyone should follow, that generally ends to people all killing each other and not being able to get along with each other at all.
But hang on, Harry. You have admitted in this stream that Academic Agent is hamstrung by censorship.
Yes.
Yeah.
You even made a tweet about that. You even made a tweet
about
that.
No, it's illiberal. Right. That's why we have a stream every fucking week complaining about it.
You've lost to the communists.
But we're on
Just throw it all away. Listen,
we're so on the verge of winning.
Garbage. Why are you giving me the CRT argument?
Because they are being censored for their opinions. That is proof this is not a liberal order on YouTube. Do we agree?
Yes.
Well, no, because it's not the government. It means that the culture has shifted away from liberalism to neo-Marxism.
But why would the culture have shifted away? Right, it's not a liberal culture
because neoliberalism failed everyone. Is the real answer to that question?
Don't get me involved in this.
Because neoliberalism failed everyone, so everyone's looking for meaning and new purpose.
And now
the left is going to commies, and the right are going to whatever the fuck they're going to.
Yeah, but that's what he's arguing. The communists are now calling the shots, which is why they get censored for making their arguments that we as liberals wouldn't censor them for.
Well, first of all, I'm not even sure I'm pretty sure even pre-commie shit, most liberals don't want people, explicitly being racist on public platforms most of the time.
Hang on. So are you saying it's right that the communists censor racists?
I don't think it's right. I'm just saying in reality, I'm sure it would still
who cares? You're free to do what you want, theoretically, right?
You asked me, do I think it's right? I said no.
Right. So you're against them censoring people for being racist.
Yes.
But,
right,
but would it still happen? Right? Would Richard Spencer be able to in 1985? Well, I don't know. Maybe that's too late. Maybe in the year 2005, would Richard Spencer have a YouTube channel where he's out? He could say that he thinks blacks are inferior to white people.
I don't know.
I think he probably would have.
He could in 2015.
I think he would have got banned off.
He could in 2015.
I don't think he could. I would be shocked.
Of course he could.
He wasn't punched in 2015.
The alt-right weren't deplatformed until 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
It's because people weren't aware of it.
So
what do you
quick
mean?
that this has happened, and you're acting like this has always been this way.
And
it's so illiberal.
I don't know.
It's
this
so
is crazy.
illiberal to be like, well, I don't care.
It's crazy. I don't think Richard Spencer was able to do black people are inferior stuff on YouTube in 2015.
Do you not?
I could be misremembering,
channel
but I don't think that was the thing.
Do you not remember what his channel was called?
No, I don't.
Fucking hell! Okay, so it's been memory hold. You don't know what Richard Spencer's channel was in 2015.
What
Richard Spencer movie review.
I didn't say wait. I didn't say Richard Spencer couldn't have a channel. I said he had a channel where he would literally say these things. Were inferior on YouTube.
Loads of people did. There were loads of them.
Sargon, what was it called? Sorry.
It was called Radix or Radix, something like that, right?
Okay.
It also had a sort of /NRX or something, or NRA or something like that.
But there you go. Listen, I'm glad I'm misremembering. I guess that means YouTube was embodying the liberal.
There was Millennial
ultimate free speech.
There was a bunch of them, all the alt-right channels, and they always to say this all the time. And some of these channels have been around for years.
Well, they always couch their language in.
No, a lot of them were just blatant about it. But YouTube was a free for all. So that's not a bad thing.
I'm not saying it is a bad thing.
Right. So what difference does it make? Why act like YouTube has done nothing wrong here?
When did
Carl?
Who are we talking to? Who? What?
I am on
the PSA
YouTube channel
guy who famously bitched about YouTube for the last 5 years because they're so censorious. Magically disappear and was replaced with some other entity in this conversation.
Well, that's the question I'm asking with you.
Clearly on the fence here.
This is ridiculous.
Richard Spencer's still allowed on YouTube.
No, because this is like why don't you keep twisting everything around that I'm saying? I said I'm in favor of it, but I would be shocked if it was allowed. And then you said it was allowed, and I'm like, I don't remember that, but if it was, fine. And then you're like, oh, Sitch, you're in favor of censorship now. What the fuck?
No, okay,
listen,
that's not fair.
No, listen, right? It absolutely was, and okay, you've got this. Memory lapse here. You didn't realize. Okay, fine.
Well, I didn't follow all the race realists 2015, so you have to excuse me for not remembering.
Oh, there we go. But so they were all there, right? And that was when YouTube was run as a liberal platform, and now they're all gone because it's not a liberal platform because the communists have taken over.
The ADL famously, fought for the rights of Ku Klux Klan members. Yeah.
Right. Was it the no? It wasn't ADL. It was the SPLC, wasn't it?
Okay.
No. It was the American Civil Liberties Union.
Yeah. ACLU. So we're in favor of that. We're in favor of being able to debate the Nazis. We're in favor of people being able to.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
So why is Quackademic Agent trying to pin Susan Wojcicki's position on PSA Sitch when PSA Sitch is in favor of?
Well, also, I just want to say that the YouTube censoring stuff, which I'm 100% against and have always been, wasn't because of some sort of neo-Marxian ideology. It was because they wanted to protect their bottom line.
Yes,
completely capitalistic motivation.
Well, hang on.
That's why it happened.
That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
No, it does make sense. Hang on.
It
does. Because why does it affect their bottom line? Because YouTube's full of neo-Marxists. That's
because
why.
I did 2 videos on this.
I know. I'm looking for those videos right now.
This all started.
What's the name of that video?
With left-wing socialist Rupert Murdoch, who decided he was going to go fuck over YouTube by putting a bunch of articles in the Wall Street Journal and the Times UK, where he said YouTube is putting advertisements on terrorist videos and anti-Semitic videos, and when they broadcast this to the world, all these advertisers said, we don't want to associate our brand with literal terrorist and Nazi content. And so YouTube said, oh shit, all these brands are going to pull out of our algorithm. We can't put ads on videos anymore. So they had to come up with all these bullshit strict guidelines for ads. That's why we live in the situation we live in.
Well, it's partly that, but amazingly in the UK, Rupert Murdoch's seen as kind of a Tory simp. Well, I don't
he's not a Marxist. I think we can all agree.
He's not. He's absolutely no. Okay. The man is only motivated by profit, basically.
Yeah.
Why?
So he went against
Carl. I want you to answer the question.
I would love to.
Why are you supporting Quackademic agent strawmanning PSA Sitch's position on censorship?
That's not really a very interesting question, though. The question.
Well, you can dodge if you want. Just say, listen, I don't want to answer that question.
I don't care about the question. The issue is: are you guys under the impression that YouTube is not run as a kind of social justice regime?
Look, we've already yeah, totally. We've already admitted that there's asymmetry here.
I don't need to get off the topic, right? Because this is the important bit that you guys keep trying to avoid dealing with, right? So you're the one that didn't answer the question. What are we trying to avoid? In the time period between 2015 to now, YouTube was taken over by communists.
I think it was always run by communists. They just
I think I think it was Adam.
Foot in mouth, Adam.
Come on.
Look, it's Silicon.
I wouldn't even agree that YouTube is run by communists.
It's Silicon Valley.
It's run by people with far left moral intuitions who are simping for big business.
Okay? Yeah, there you go.
I think it's close to Sitch's position than Adam's. Yes.
Then why is it that social justice is the reigning ideology of YouTube?
Because it's viewed as advertiser safe.
Why is YouTube putting out Black Lives Matter videos? Here's Black Month and here's loads of SJW creators.
Because they want a virtue signal. It's all viewed as this is advertiser safe.
Because they believe it.
Okay.
No, I don't believe
Of course they do. Otherwise they wouldn't do it. Well, it's not profitable. It doesn't make them money.
They think it is.
No, they don't.
They do think it makes them money.
Profitable.
They do think it makes them money. That's why they do it.
They do not think it makes them money.
Well, we just disagree on that.
Carl,
what would be the metric that they would use to prove that it makes them money?
Profits.
Where? Netflix has just fired 150 SJWs.
Yes.
Wait, what did Netflix do?
That's the result of this.
Because
one at a time, guys. Okay, Harry and I. Yeah, I'll give you a chance to talk.
Let Harry speak.
Yeah, sorry. So with Netflix, you're absolutely right. They're firing a load of animators because they hired them over the past few years because they thought woke ideology would help them. It didn't. They fired them.
Exactly.
It'll be the same with YouTube in a couple of years.
I don't agree that it's about helping. Right, I don't think they thought wokeness was a market that they could tap into. What this was a moral assault on the liberals from critical race theorists, which Sitch, I know you know how that works.
Of course.
Right.
Wait,
and
do you
this
think...
is why
Harry, one at a time, okay?
Communists.
Do you think that whoever was in charge of these decisions on YouTube has some understanding that this is an assault on liberal principles?
No, of course not.
But you're saying that they do, or you're implying that they do, that this is some sort of communist takeover. That they're like, "Yay, here you go, communists. We want to be communists now."
No, why would it have to be consensual? None of these things are consensual. This is all done by moral force. You are a racist if you don't support Black Lives Matter. You are a homophobe if you don't support LGBT.
Right? They have exactly.
This is force that is being used. Moral force.
They think this is why all the CRT people lie. They think this is just a continuation of the liberal civil rights movement.
Well, that's what they lie about, and you are absolutely bang on the money on that. There's a excellent assertion.
But why do they lie about it? Why are they not open about it?
It brings them to victory. That's
exactly. Because people are not sitting around saying, let's go accept communism. We're going to throw our liberal traditions into the garbage can. No one's saying that. That's why they have to lie about it.
The critical race theorists aren't saying that, right? But they have defeated the liberal gatekeepers using the moral argument of critical race theory intersectionality. Right?
Well, no, they haven't, because they don't make the argument. They just say, we want to teach history. We want to just not be racist. They don't make the actual CRT argument to any of these people.
Well, no, yes, okay. They're using the moral weaponry crafted by critical race theory that can take the skin suit of liberalism, burst through the barriers, and take over the system and demonstrably change something like YouTube from being a 2015 liberal platform to a 2022 communist platform or social justice platform or whatever, right? And so this is the point. Liberalism loses to social justice, to communism. And the question is why?
Why did...
And Adam, hang on. And Adam is hit on the point because the intent is the same.
No.
I don't
wrong.
Why?
Wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Well, why did Netflix say, we're going to fire all the woke people, get the fuck out?
Because reality hit them in the ass.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so why would we not expect that YouTube and Disney and all these other companies that are getting reamed by wokeness to have the same
thing? Is it liberal to fire people for their opinions?
Unironically, yes.
No, it's liberal to fire people who can't do their fucking job.
Right. So now we agree that Netflix isn't being operated as a liberal platform.
Wait,
do we agree?
No, Netflix didn't say, listen, we're going to fire you off for being woke. They said, listen,
they absolutely did.
No, they said, the CEO said very clearly, listen, Netflix believes in artistic freedom. We're going to put on a bunch of people that say a lot of different things and have a lot of different opinions. And if you have a problem with that, there's the big ass fucking door.
No, let me get up an exact quote for you.
Oh.
Bring up the Netflix guy's statement. That's exactly what he said.
Can I ask a controversial question?
Ask a controversial question.
Do you think liberalism allows people to be more tolerant or intolerant?
More tolerant.
Nope. Allows them to be more intolerant.
Oh, okay.
In a good way, because it's the thing you were confusing with Dave. I think liberalism should allow you to basically be like, I don't like this person, I want to be as far away from them as possible, without bringing the law into it, without hanging them or without ruining their life. You should be allowed under liberalism.
I agree.
To live with other people as you see fit.
That's the point. Yes,
but obviously with YouTube, it's you have to be a bread tuber, otherwise you can't say what you want.
Right, but that's Carl's point, is that we've moved away from liberal ideas to communist ideas.
Well, when were we under liberal ideas on YouTube?
Apparently in 2015, but
it was pretty liberal.
Even then, it was ish. It's
sure, but like you could find the full, quite a broad spectrum. I can't think of much apart from active terrorist content, which I think is right to deplatform, obviously.
Wow.
Ooh, see.
Well, I'm
ISIS. Dev is hitting you. Dev is hitting you in the chat, Carl. He's saying, wait a minute, Carl. You said you can't imagine talking to Source respectfully, but you were mocking Big Joel when he made the point about talking respectfully in the same fashion.
Say again.
Remember, you were mocking Big Joel because Big Joel's like, I can't imagine talking to Sargon of Akkad respectfully. And you're like, Big Joel doesn't understand how to talk to people politely.
Yeah.
And you said, I can't believe you talked to Lance of the Serfs politely.
No. It's fine for you to talk to Lance of the Serfs politely, but you can't talk to Academic Agent politely. And what I'm showing with that...
We offer to talk to him politely.
And I messaged him in private and was very fucking polite. And what did the guy do? He stabbed me in the fucking back, Carl.
And he thinks the same of you guys. So
that's
so why
fine.
don't you both drop it and talk to each other politely?
Because I don't give... I want nothing to do with him.
Carl, you understand that that Quackademic agent, he didn't tweet at us and say, hey, Sitch and Adam, would you like to have a polite conversation about some issue? And then evil Sitch said, fuck you.
I don't know. You can be blocked on Twitter.
Exactly.
The first tweet he throws out at us is a fucking insult out of the blue.
Yeah.
So don't come at me with this. Oh, why don't you guys... Nice.
Look, I'm not going to try and unpick the litany of crimes.
I'm not Daryl Davis. I'm not going to go over there and be like, let me be your friend, Quack. I'm a Jew.
I didn't say
common
be friends
interests.
Look, and also Quackademic agent said he doesn't forgive in the live stream, which is perfect.
He's also autistic.
Which is perfect. He doesn't need to forgive. Looking, he took 2-3 years off his life with the cortisol levels that he displayed in that fucking Spurg stream. Okay, we've already done so much damage to Quackademic agent.
I don't really care about
if we interact with him anymore, he will die.
What do you mean? That's what you literally do.
No, but you keep bringing him up. I'm trying to...
You brought him up! You started all of this, Carl, on the Sunday stream.
Yes, but I'm trying to explain to you that what you need to understand is that liberalism is going to lose to social justice.
I understand that's your argument. This
is inevitable. It's already lost. We've just demonstrated we're not using a liberal society.
So wait, if this woke shit goes away, is your whole worldview going to change and be like, well, I guess liberalism's fine now?
No, because it's still vulnerable.
You can't devise a system that's not vulnerable unless it's even if it's an authoritarian regime with an iron fist. All systems are vulnerable.
Sitch, you're literally getting stamped on in the face by YouTube, and you're like, well, I mean,
That's it. Wait, no. No, don't dodge. Okay, you cannot create a perfect system that is invulnerable to any degradation in any direction.
When did I say you could? When did I say you could? When did I say you could?
You said even if wokeness goes away, liberalism is still vulnerable, and I'm like, well, every system is still vulnerable.
Yeah, but there's a clear and present danger from wokeness.
Okay.
So why wouldn't we address that?
We are addressing that. What do you mean?
Well, I'm trying, but you keep.
Your addressment is throwing out the baby with the bathwater. That's how you.
Well, what did I say? What did I say?
Liberalism is a failure. Is going to fail because it always leads to wokeness or Marxism.
We're not living in a liberal system.
It has failed. Okay, it's already happened.
You have admitted in this stream this is not a liberal system.
YouTube, I said, is not operating under the free speech.
Yes. YouTube. The thing we're using right now is not being run as a liberal would run it. Right. So that's a failure of liberalism, is it not?
So if we live under,
and but your option was, well, if it goes away,
are you going to let him answer? You asked him a question.
Well, no. If we live under some imaginary, whatever the imaginary anti-liberal, further right-wing system that anyone wants to live under,
what are you talking
and then
about?
it has a revolution or it allows something to change, do we say, well, I guess that system was ultimately a failure because it ended up changing?
So,
like that's such a poor
you're missing
argument.
The point,
Sitch.
right?
I'm not missing.
I'm not talking about some fucking mystical right.
That is what you're basing your criticism of liberalism on the fact that something can come along and fuck with it.
Name the system you're talking about.
The fucking why did the monarchies? Why did the Russian fucking monarchy fall to communism? Okay.
Right, hang on.
This is great.
This is why I said to Adam, you talk past each other.
Oh.
It's incredible. It's actually incredible that I can actually intervene.
Explain this to me.
I can. So I'm going to say, or Carl, he's saying, look, liberalism doesn't have the answer to everything, and Sitch, you're saying, yeah, it doesn't.
Right.
But more or less, I'm going to cope with it.
You won't allow us to actually address why not, because it could have more answers than it currently has.
Yes, look,
and instead of addressing it, you jump to some mythical right-wing monarchist system or something. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's going the complete other end of the spectrum.
No,
it's
wait.
Okay.
No, because first of all, let me read the super chat. J-Mac for $400. Thank you so much, Daddy.
Give to my channel,
Daddy J-Mac for $400.
Not a liberal system, buddy. You can't say that.
I don't know. Yeah, I missed that.
I didn't
hear
it. Yeah,
as someone 2015
knows, anymore.
Thank God for that.
As someone who knows a few CEOs, I think you guys are both kind of right. The middle management and white collar workers are entrenched in the ideology where the older board members are all about the bottom line. The board is promised that the ideology is profitable, and so the changes are made. Then we see the drop in profits.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
The thing is,
they're chasing wokeness for profit.
I think Wojcicki herself is actually a believer. She's been in charge of YouTube for ages.
I agree.
And yet she still made these changes. So.
I don't even think that's true. I don't think that's true.
You don't think so?
No. I think she's just going. I think she's just doing what she's told from above. Let's say.
Mm-hmm. But from
I think it's just from the CEO of Twitter, from the CEO of Google,
from Google actually, because Google says, "Hey," because Google looks at YouTube and basically says, "YouTube, listen, you fucks. Okay, we make all the money in Google. How you better not fucking make us lose any money, you fucking assholes, by having Nazis get ads on YouTube. You better fucking lock that shit down." And
hang on.
Goes, okay,
YouTube lost billions in revenue after that from
they
one at a time. Harry on. You have to just like when other people are talking.
You're right.
You're talking over everyone. So
sorry.
Yeah, we'll give you a chance to talk. Who? Carl,
I forgot
you
what we
want
were
to
talking
say
about
something?
before I interrupted with the super chat.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, so wait. So what Harding was saying that we're talking past each other. I'm saying no. Because what the point you keep trying to extract from me that I'm resistant to is that you're saying liberalism inherently leads to this neo-Marxist shit, and I'm saying that point doesn't make any sense. Anything can inherently lead to something else just because something comes after it.
I'm not saying it's necessary. I'm saying it is, right? Mm-hmm. So it is the case that this has happened. It is the case that critical theory has taken advantage of liberalism's weaknesses, right? It is the case that you can't discuss certain subjects on YouTube without being censored. Mm-hmm. It is the case this is not a liberal system. And it is the case that this was not done by force of arms. This was done by moral persuasion.
Right. So I don't disagree with any of that.
Right. Okay. Right. And so the question is, what is the weakness in liberalism that allowed this to happen? And I think that lies ultimately in the fact that the communists are arguing for the same thing as Adam said, that all we want is material improvement. Right.
I don't think that's why.
Why not?
I think what's going, first of all, I'm not even sure what's happening right now in America anyway. I can't speak of the rest of the world. It doesn't really have much to do with the flaw in liberalism. It has more to do with just the neo-Marxists being able to latch onto this sore spot of racism and use this to kind of sneak in a bunch of bullshit.
But this is
it's
a core
very unique
assumption
to
of
America
liberalism that they're using. That men are universal.
I missed what you said.
But they are using a core liberal assumption in order to leverage that.
Which is
individual freedom.
The idea that human beings are universal.
But they're not. They're saying the exact opposite, though. That's the problem.
No, they're not. They begin. So the problem is that liberalism begins with bad premises. Frankly,
what are they? Let's get to those.
Right. The first one is that it begins with the assumption of an ahistorical universal man. That's the problem, right? It begins with something that didn't exist. There was no coming together in the woods to establish a state. That didn't happen. It was a false assumption. It's a false assumption made by Locke and Rousseau. Both English and French liberalism share this false assumption. And they both specifically negate the cultural baggage that any individual has from the culture in which they live and the time in which they come from in order to create this universal man. So they deprive him of the particular qualities that he has and assume a fictional universal human that then creates a doctrine of equality, because this universal human, not having any differences in particular between any other human, is now equal. There's no difference.
It feels like you're talking about progressivism, though, not liberalism.
Adam, I'm talking about liberalism, right?
Okay.
And I've done the reading on this, so I'm telling you, this is what they all think. Right?
A historical universal man. I got you. Go ahead. Continue.
This is what they all think, Adam. Right? And it's your lack of education on the subject that shows you don't know that.
My lack of okay.
So, yeah, it is. It actually is. Go and read John Locke. Go and read Rousseau. These are the two main strains that you definitely benefit from starting with. And they begin with an assumption that just isn't true, right? But this doctrine of equality then can be laundered into anything practically. You can say, well, I mean, look at the American Constitution. All men are created equal. That's total horseshit. That's not a truth, right? That's not a true statement.
Oh, that depends how you look at it.
Not really.
But how do you get to equal protection under the law?
You get to that through English political traditions. But even then, do we actually have equal protection under the law? Who's going to bring Hillary Clinton to justice?
But it's,
none of you.
It's an aspirational thing.
Yes, it is. But it also has the problem is it is a combination of normative and descriptive. And this is one of the ways that you guys trip up a lot is by failing to be able to separate your normative vision of what should be from the descriptive vision of what is. And I had to work really hard in this conversation to get you to accept that YouTube is not being run in a liberal fashion.
No, you did not. That was the first thing out of my mouth. Of course it is. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't agree with that, Carl.
Yeah, you think you're high. You're smoking the quack.
You think YouTube is a liberal system?
Yeah, illiberal.
No.
We said it was illiberal from like the first part of the
literally. I had to argue this with Sitch to get him to
literally.
accept
No, you argued with me. I said it was always illiberal, and you were saying it started liberal. That was what the argument was about.
No one thought YouTube was liberal.
It's the point. That's insane.
The point then is that liberalism is based so far on three wrong doctrines.
Well, hold on.
Fourth one.
I'm just trying to get to the what you said. A universal ahistorical universal man is one.
Yeah, but
so what's
he
two?
Lives in a he lives before society. Right?
Okay.
What is that? This is another one of liberalism's assumptions. Right. It's just wrong.
That's what ahistorical means. I understand that. So what's the second one?
No. The ahistorical man is a man out of time. He doesn't belong to.
I understand that. You're saying just a blank slate.
No, I'm saying, look, just to be clear, right? They're saying that there is a form of man who lives before civilization. That's not true. right? No person lives before a society. Humans have always been in society. Even chimps live in societies.
We totally agree with that. Look,
we live in
I
society,
believe
yes.
I believe in cultural evolution. Okay. None of what you're saying. I disagree with. When I think of liberalism, I think of individual rights, individual freedom, and equal protection under the law. So I keep waiting for you to get to that part of liberalism.
Well, all three of those things, the social justice warriors are complaining aren't being fulfilled.
Yeah, everyone complains that they aren't being fulfilled because it's aspirational and it's difficult to achieve those things.
This is laid out.
So you're always going to have that Achilles heel to them.
No, this is laid out in CRT, okay? Which is that they have to be gun shy here. Both the far left and the far right have to be gun shy, and they have to try to argue for their positions in whatever the acceptable framework is at the time. And the acceptable framework is liberalism. So of course they're going to try to argue that under that framework, even if they don't accept it or believe in it, which they obviously don't.
But no, they do want to have absolute equality. I mean, one running theme throughout all of the critical race theory key writings that form the movement is the complaint about the lack of equality.
But when liberalism talks about equality, they're not talking about material conditions equality. They're talking about equal protection under the law. They're talking about the law treating everyone equal. They're not saying everybody has the same amount of stuff. That's a progressive view, not a liberal view.
Hang on. There are versions of liberalism that do bleed into that, actually, which is why we end up in social liberalism. And then you end up going even further down this road because, as you said, the improvement of the material conditions becomes the overriding goal. And then finally, right, the fourth thing about liberalism that's just not true is that democracy is by the people, for the people, and of the people, or however it's formulated, right? That's not really true. That's just not a real truth. Otherwise, America wouldn't have ruling dynasties. Like, it's just not a truth, right?
That is true.
No, it's not true.
People choose it. What do you mean? People choose this.
No,
okay.
This is why. Hang on. This is where all of AA's elite theory comes into it, right? And he's not wrong, right? It's not wrong that there are in every society, even democratic ones, there are a series of embedded elites that continue on for generations upon generations upon generations.
Right, but those elites have a technical challenge that Quackademic agent ignores. Before we move on to that, can I get 2 and 3? I got the historical universal man. Democracy is by the people, for the people. You said there's 4, but I missed what is 2 and 3?
Yeah, right. So the wrong assumption is that men existed pre-society, right? Men have always existed in society.
That seems a little redundant when you have ahistorical universal man, but okay. And 2 is also
that
man
was the
existed.
Ahistorical bit. The universal bit is the consequence. They've shorn man of all of his particular cultural baggage.
So you're saying 2 is before society?
Yes.
Okay.
This is also before society, right? The 3 is the doctrine of this again is before society.
Doctrine of equality. Okay, I know.
They then are all equal at that point, right?
Okay.
And then a 4th one that comes afterwards is the idea of the democracy when they come together to form the government of their own.
And what source are you? Where are you getting this, Carl? Just so I have a source.
Fucking serious, Adam?
Yeah.
John Locke and Rousseau.
Okay.
This is a logical progression
I can give
anyway.
you a fucking big list. Okay, hang on. Right, I'll give you a massive goddamn list. Let me get my notes.
No. I'm fine with that. I'm just fine with that. Like
they're the two easy.
Okay, I've read my share. I've read my share of philosophers. Okay, I find them often wanting on actual tangible evidence for their beliefs. So that's because these beliefs are false.
These are 4 false beliefs of liberalism that are being taken advantage of by social justice. Now, I don't want to get rid of, as you say, the public goods that liberalism has provided, right? I don't want to get rid of equality under the law. I don't want to get rid of personal liberty. And I don't want to get rid of any of the other things.
Can we get this in writing?
Right?
Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure Quackademic Agent agrees with that. So
who cares?
Well, wait. There's two things. There's two things.
Question. Hang on. One last thing. The point is that what we need to do is understand how social justice took advantage of liberalism, and it was from these wrong assumptions that social justice took advantage of liberalism. And if liberalism is such a good philosophy, how is it could be based on wrong assumptions that can be taken advantage of? And so what we need to do is find a kind of new way of doing liberalism that doesn't rest on these wrong assumptions that social justice can't then conquer.
One question before we move on, and I know you want to.
I'm not going to move. I wasn't going to move on.
Okay, so the Wooster is asking, Carl, where's your source for this critique that you're giving of Locke and Rousseau? Do you have?
It's my critique after reading
so your personal critique. Okay.
Yes.
It's basic logic, really.
Yes.
Okay. So there's two things. First of all, I don't know if we're going to get back to it, whether we live in a democracy for the people or by the people, but we've kind of moved on. Maybe we'll get back to that. But
we can go back to that.
Regarding the assumptions of liberalism, because I feel like this is a core part of your arguments, and I've heard you make this. I understand what you're saying, and I think it is a good idea and a just idea for a society and for a philosophy to be based around things that are true or real. I mean, I obviously don't disagree with any of that. But I don't see that as making the difference in allowing something to take advantage of it. Almost every, like Christianity, as you as a not Christian would believe that Christianity is not based on like real assumptions, or any religion is based on real assumptions. Like none of these systems, I would argue, are really based on anything real. And regardless of whether it's based on anything real or not, doesn't mean people can't twist it to whatever they want. I mean, so much of our history is just, there's some strict ideology and people in power twist it around and somehow use the framework to justify whatever the fuck they want. I don't see how that solves anything, whether it's based on something real or not.
Okay, but then that is an acceptance that essentially all we do is talk about mythology.
Of course we do. What do you mean?
Right. So how are you not in the Evolan camp talking about mythology now?
There's nothing wrong with...
Hang on. Why should we choose your mythology and not Evola's mythology if you're both just debating mythology?
Well, first of all, I think that my mythology has produced far better results, than whatever the fuck, than Evola's mythology.
That's a matter of taste. I mean...
I know. That was my second point, is that, it's a matter of aesthetics and choice and taste.
But this is it's a very postmodern position, this. But secondly, I'm not sure...
Do you believe in objective morality?
No, not really.
Okay, well then what are we talking about?
But I'm like not... It doesn't matter what I believe, right? What matters is what's happening here.
Just confirm metaphorical truth, too. I want someone to write that down.
I always confirm metaphorical truth.
So
what do you mean?
Go ahead, move on.
But I'm not sure you'd win the argument. Right? If your argument about material conditions ends up in like what's his name's fucking pleasure chamber, Nozick's pleasure chamber.
No, it doesn't, because I'm not making a low resolution argument about material conditions where I say all anyone should care about is material conditions. That's what leads you down to the Wally world, stuck in the chair with the masturbation tube on your dick. Okay, I'm not making that argument. I don't think anyone intelligent would make that argument. Obviously, we need some sort of balance of material conditions and people. I know, and people needing some sort of mental, moral, psychological, and spiritual fulfillment in their lives, because we're human animals and we were wired to be this way.
But that doesn't come from liberalism. So where does it come from?
Liberalism
from having
people
the freedom to pursue those. Yes,
pursue these things as long as they don't fuck with other people.
But people had the freedom to pursue that before liberalism,
right?
No, they didn't. Okay,
well, no.
Yeah,
well, they would get killed for it, depending on what country they lived in. So.
And also, not really. Everyone did. What do you mean, American slaves didn't have that.
Do what you're describing.
Why were Jews getting chased out of Europe because they were living in communities where they weren't trying to fuck with anyone, but they weren't following according to the everyone else's.
Hang on.
Why don't you ask? I'm not an expert on the Jews.
Hang on.
Confirmed that academic agent is an expert.
Well, I was going to say, in terms of...
That's not fair. I don't know. I was just joking.
Well, wait.
That's not fair. Come on. I didn't say he was.
I'm just joking.
I know, but it's been high tension.
In terms of liberalism, the peak of it was 1800s England, and as you say, you can get to peak, the economic peak and the spiritual peak in economic, in Victorian England, and what happened beyond that? First World War and Second World War, where we had collective action again.
But the issue is that the spiritual aspect that you guys are saying that people need is totally absent from liberalism.
Not everyone doesn't need those. Some people do.
I think generally people do need that.
Right. Yeah,
they do need that, and you can get it under liberalism. It's just very, very difficult because it's very atomized.
Well, you can't get it from liberalism until you turn it into a crusading doctrine like social justice.
But wait a minute. That's exactly the danger, is that when you turn some moral philosophy into this crusade that society has to live by, that's what always leads to these problems.
But I know, but this is where the weakness of liberalism is. Its soft underbelly, the universalism, right? The universalism and the doctrine of equality both lead into the social justice crusade. They totally open the door for it.
Any philosophy, any precept, any idea can be hyperbolized to lead to a bad outcome by just definitionally. There's no way around that. Okay.
But there is a logical inevitability in
that's
social
justice
argument.
That's a disagreement. There was a really good. Do you follow James Lindsay on Patreon or anything?
Not on Patreon, but I mean, I follow his YouTube channel.
Right. So he had a really good video that was only for his Patreons, which is unfortunate, where he talks exactly about this issue, and he says, and he's talking about in terms of the neo-reactionaries, and he was basically conceptualizing it like they want to create a system that's just so perfect that it will be immune to change. It'll be immune to sort of degenerative forces, which is one, impossible, and history has shown that. And two, what he conceptualizes, which I agree with, is that a society is basically like someone trying to balance a knife on its hilt in the palm of their hand. You have to keep shifting and moving. You never can just remain stationary. You just always have to keep moving and balancing this knife. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. I don't think you can create a perfect system that's perfectly balanced. You always have to move.
No scoffing. We don't allow scoffing on the stream, Carl.
What I'm arguing for?
Sorry, I have a big issue with this, but I'll let you.
I'm not arguing for perfection at all. What I'm saying is that liberalism has a fatal weakness to social justice, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But if it can't repair this flaw, then it will lose to social justice, and liberalism will become synonymous with social justice.
How do we repair the flaw?
But wait a minute. It doesn't. This is where I disagree with you. It doesn't have a fatal weakness. The reason wokeness and social justice is being successful right now is because they're lying about it.
No.
So unless saying that, the fact that they can lie about it is the weakness, that's true of any system.
They're not lying. It's their interpretation of these concepts that is different to the classical liberal.
The people, the academics, know they're lying because they're anti-liberal. They know they're anti-liberal.
Oh
yes, but listen, hang on. Yeah. Remember that Adam said we basically want the same thing as the socialists. We've just got different ways.
That's not what he meant.
Yeah, you're totally strong.
Adam, you did in some sense mean that you are both very concerned with the improvement of material conditions.
Not radical equality, not equity.
I didn't say.
I'm not in favor of equity. Okay. Quackademic Agent is going to make a fucking 10-part video series about how Sitch and Adam are in favor of equity now. Like you got to realize we're dealing with retards over there. Okay.
Listen, the problem is, and this is what James Burnham's trying to point out. You're heading in the same direction, and they are using the same language that you're using to get there. That's why they can go through you and get there quicker. And go further than you would go.
I don't necessarily understand. Like I made a very clear statement that we want society to thrive, and the socialists also want society to thrive as well, but they think thriving is a matter of equity, where everybody has exactly the same amount of stuff. I disagree with that. So, I mean, my position is that I want society to thrive, but obviously there's going to be, inequality. But obviously we should work on, nobody should suffer too much, especially if we're in a wealthy first world democracy. So,
but that's actually a repudiation of liberalism.
That is a repudiation of liberal. Okay.
Yes, liberalism is based on a doctrine of equality.
Equity or equality? What are we talking about here?
It doesn't matter. The concept of equality.
No, it does. It very much matters.
Manner.
The entire culture war is over equity versus equality.
Pivot, right? Because
I'm not
they
pivoting.
take
What are
the
you talking
concept of
about?
equality. You are. I'm going to say, well, equality of this. You say, I want equality of that. It's like, it doesn't matter what kind of equality you want. They're going to tell you that whatever, because they're masters of language manipulation.
They are lying. That's completely unfair.
I want to let.
It doesn't matter. You're never going to expose them as liars.
I want to let.
Slow down.
I want to let Harian speak because he's been trying to say something for like a million years.
I've been very patient, as you say. Which liberal philosopher said that liberalism is based on equality? I don't know a single one.
Equity.
Every single one.
Either.
Right?
Which one?
No, equality.
How was John Locke was on terms with equity?
I didn't say equity.
Cite some sources for John Locke and equity.
I didn't say equity. I didn't say equity.
Well, you're trying to force me into this equity position.
Adam,
I said equality.
Adam, leave it for... Well, equality then. How was John Locke for equality?
They all are based on the concept of equality.
Equality in
And this
what
is
way?
why it's written into the American Declaration of Independence. We believe
equal protection under the law.
Well, there we go. There's a doctrine of equality in and of itself.
Look,
it's just a kind of equality.
I can't believe I'm flabbergasted here.
Wait. Let.
I mean, it's the second treaties of government and
Adam.
social contract is the example.
I want to hear the argument.
There are others. I can go find.
I'm sorry. Even Adam Smith in the what's it called? A Wealth. Whatever.
Wealth of Nations.
Wealth of Nations.
Yes.
He was like, the the unequal, that the lower classes needs to be kicked into arse because they're trying to steal from the rich. It was never based on equality, Sargon. It was never based on equality.
You can keep saying that, but you'll keep being wrong. Right?
I'm sure I can from Adam Smith.
There is no question. Go and read Locke's Second Treatise of Government and go and read the Social Contract.
I have.
Reread it. Right?
I have read it.
They are both founded in the doctrine of a universal man who exists pre-society in a state of perfect equality in nature.
So
that's what the state of nature is. Right?
So this is...
Right, so you agree with it. Brilliant.
No, I do.
Well, then don't act like I'm fucking wrong.
I'm not.
Because I know I'm not wrong on this. And this is the problem with liberals.
Oh, this is
you've got this fucking attitude.
Thank you.
Right?
I brought it up.
This attitude, you are wrong about these things. That's the problem.
First of all,
you are acting as if equality isn't a core component of the liberal doctrine. It doesn't matter what kind of equality you're asking for, because that will just be used against you by whoever wants to.
Let's all hang on. Sargon, when you say equality of man, what do you mean?
I have literally just explained it.
Well, explain it again, because I am slow.
Pre-society are not capable of inequality, material, moral, intellectual, whatever.
Not true under Locke doctrine.
Wrong.
So is it
true?
Is it equity? Is it the thing that we all are calling equity these days? Radical equality?
No, like the inequalities come from society. Is basically the doctrine of liberalism, right?
So just to make the point, Sargon, if Locke was for that, he wouldn't believe in God, but he thought atheism should be outlawed.
Yeah, so.
Well, so he can't believe in equality.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, right?
Okay, go on.
Pre-society, the inequalities, and they all admit that these would be inequalities, but like the thing that they were coming out of was a stratified feudal society, right? And in that you have a hierarchy, a social hierarchy that comes with it assigned goods, right? You get a certain proportion. And that is only possible because of a society that exists outside of the state of nature. Now, the state of nature, there are physical inequalities, but there's nothing that gives anyone any significant inequality, as in no man is so strong that he can amass to himself the food of the forest so other men can't eat, right? So there's no such thing as material inequality in the original view of the liberal state of nature. Right?
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't care. Right.
Okay.
I know you're wrong on that because I've just spent the last 3 years studying this. Right. Okay. So I know, I know that this is what they think because I've had to go through it at length. Right. Now, that's a wrong assumption. Right. That assumption of equality is a wrong assumption.
I agree that assumption is wrong. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So this wrong assumption opens the door to social justice because it is assumed that it should be equal. Right. This is precisely the purpose of the social contract for a start. Okay. And it is implied in Locke, I would say, because Locke was a kind of halfway house between conservatism and liberalism. And he knew that he knew what he was doing. Like, he knew there was something that was wrong with what he was saying. He called himself an underlaborer of what would come. Well, what would come after him is Rousseau, who credited Locke with a lot. He thought it was brilliant. He just thought he hadn't gone far enough.
So did Hobbes, with his idea that man comes from nature, nature's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they had very different views on
exactly. So
the state of nature, but the agreement was that there was equality. They were either equally miserable or equally happy or equally moral, which is Locke's position, which is obviously fucking batshit.
Yes, yes.
And so, I mean, like, in the hypothetical thought experiment, Rousseau actually is the most accurate. As in, if man was provided everything he ever needed. No, but it's bullshit. It's wrong, right? It's a wrong thought experiment. But Rousseau's got the most accurate bead on it. Like, well, no, actually, Hobbes probably does.
I was going to say Hobbes.
but no. Rousseau is like, look, the thing is, Hobbes assumes the real world, whereas Rousseau assumes like this fantasy world. But the assumption of the fantasy world is more true because the assumption is that nature just gives you everything you want, right? And that's not true. That's people starve. That's why people started agriculture, because people weren't hungry. So it wasn't. But anyway, so go on.
I was just going to say, to push back on that. No, Rousseau is closer to the ideal of what people want, so they'll work towards it, whereas Hobbes is more towards the realist version of.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so people should work more towards Hobbes because he's more realist, whereas Rousseau.
But his assumption's bollocks.
Everyone's assumption's bollocks.
Why do we have to start from bollocks assumptions?
Because it's the best we've got.
I don't agree.
Give me something better.
Okay.
Well, give me something better.
Let's start with.
Do we want to start off real assumptions?
Right. Well, let's start with the assumption that man has always existed in a society, which appears to be factually accurate. Right.
Yes.
Let's assume that since man has always started in a society, no man is universal. There is no universal human. Right. Next, there is no equality. Everyone has always been unequal, right? Mm-hmm. And the fourth one, which is a corollary of all of this, is that there have always been aristocratic classes, even in democracies, which again appears to be true.
That's just true throughout civilization.
Right. So all of those four assumptions of liberalism are wrong, and we can assume the opposite of them as true because they appear to literally be true, and that's academic agents' critique of liberalism.
I don't see how that has any sort of actual real world change or effect.
I think I've explained it.
No, because wait a minute. When you talk to the average person
we need some breathing exercises.
Wait a minute.
Just a real quick breathing exercise.
Okay, everyone, close your eyes.
Okay,
everyone, deep in. Take a deep.
Wait.
Everyone, take in a deep breath. Count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I respect everything you're trying to do, Carl. It completely appeals to my nature, 100%, as being a truth seeker, as wanting everything to be based on what is true, objectively true. I just don't think it makes a difference that much, because the average person walking around who believes in like liberal principles of free speech and all this stuff, they're not like, oh, I believe that the guiding principle of liberalism is based on the equality of man outside of society and nature. That's not what people are operating under. That's not why people are getting suckered into believing woke social justice garbage.
Well,
it's because people have they're relying on people's sense of fairness, and they're warping that and saying it's unfair that this is happening. And that is another harm
reduction. I think
harm reduction. Yes.
Yeah. As Adam would point out, is height and the concept of care and harm, right?
Care, harm, and fairness. They do, when they talk about Elon Musk, they talk in very revealing terms. They're like, he's going to Mars when we could feed all the people in the world with that money.
Yeah. But when it comes to, say, deplatforming, right, it's always the care harm foundation they're using. They're saying, oh, this rhetoric is killing trans people or hurting black people or whatever.
Definitely.
Right? And based. Sorry.
Disavow.
Yeah, disavow. I mean, Jesus. But the problem is that this is in conflict with liberal human rights. The concept of human rights, as liberalism understands it. And there's a problem with the liberal view of human rights, which is why all of this suddenly becomes acceptable, right? The question is, what are human rights grounded in?
No, but you laying out the descriptions, the more true descriptions or descriptions of reality, like that could, everyone could accept that. That doesn't mean anything in terms of trying to create a prescriptive moral system. Because people will say, well, that's true, but we don't want to build our society around, the cold, hard, fucked upness of nature.
But why wouldn't you create prescriptions that were founded on truth rather than lies?
Well,
because
it's not
lies work better.
Just quick. No, just quick.
I'll answer that.
Hang on, very quickly. Right?
You can,
people didn't think these were lies.
I understand that. You can create prescriptions based on things that are true, but you're sort of conflating, saying if this description of reality is true, it should be continued forward in the prescriptive model. And that's where things break down, because most people are not going to start advocating for we should have moral prescriptions based around evolution. That was the eugenics movement in the 1920s in America.
Sure, but we're not saying that we have to create moral prescriptions that necessarily follow. What we're saying here is that moral prescriptions that are grounded in lies end up having those lies taken advantage of by other liars.
Liars take advantage of truths just as much as they do lies. That's why I'm saying I don't see how this fixes it.
I'm not sure they can. I think the truth is true regardless of someone lying about it, right? And the problem is that we can't stop them from doing this with this doctrine.
Well, so
couldn't
you, with your descriptions, your 4 descriptions of reality, couldn't you create almost the exact identical liberal framework of prescriptions with your it just has these descriptions in it as opposed to the fake one or the false one?
I actually think you can craft something that's a bit more solid, right?
No, I'm saying, couldn't you?
Sorry, what could I create better liberalism?
No. Couldn't we create almost exactly the same liberalism with your true descriptions as opposed to the fake or the false ones?
Yeah, I reckon we can create one that's pretty much functions in the same way. And
well, that's why I'm saying I don't see
social justice.
But that's why I'm saying I don't see it would still have the same issues that you're talking about. I don't see how.
No.
Why would it not?
Because we drop the wrong assumptions. So we don't assume equality. We don't assume a universal man. We don't assume men in the woods. I mean, the democracy. I mean, I don't really see a better alternative to democracy, frankly. So but I think we could have a more realistic view of democracy. Democracy being rather than the problem with democracy is it's the airy formulation is very open to abuse, right? Any politician can hide behind the rhetoric of democracy. If we had a bit more of a cynical view of democracy, we could say, well, look, we're choosing the aristocrats, right? We're choosing the governors, and that's the point of it. It's not that this is, oh, look at the little Tiny Tim over there. He could become the next president. Bollocks, right? Bollocks. No one thinks that. But Tiny Tim might be able to vote out the current tyrant, right?
Correct.
That's more plausible.
I like what I'm hearing here.
Yeah, exactly. But that's way more plausible and it's more realistic, right? It's more honest. But then we can admit that we're not universal, so we don't have to solve the world's problems. We don't have to solve. We can just solve our own problems.
So what you just said, elite theory doesn't accept, though. I want you to know that. But go ahead. What you just said is not accepted by elite theory. That's the problem with elite theory.
What do you mean?
What you just said about democracy. The elite theory says that democracy is completely superfluous.
Yes. I think that they probably would be arguing that. I'm not an expert on elite theory. I've only read
well, that is my critique of elite theory right there. Yes, and I've read Burnham as well. So go ahead,
I think
continue.
It's a bit too cynical.
Yes, I agree.
Hang on. There is an argument about the cadres of elites. There is, I think, a legitimate argument there. But like Trump, I think, actually demonstrates that democracy can function as this checking mechanism. So, like, it does show that there can be some sort of changing of the guard, even though Trump did it inefficiently. So, long conversation on that.
Sitch, you want to move on?
Okay.
But it's the three first assumptions that are really the problem with liberalism.
Well, okay, so
just assume the opposite and still have liberal societies.
Using
new liberalism,
the problematic assumption of, people being a blank slate, right? Everyone's. I mean, essentially, when you say like everyone's equal, or born equal, it's the blank slate. Yeah. But that kind of view of people being born as a blank slate, that view wasn't popularized because of John Locke. It wasn't popularized.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't popularized in society, at least in America. I don't know what's going on in Britain.
Even in the UK. No,
right.
John Locke is an explicit blank slater.
No, I'm not saying John Locke didn't say that. Okay, I'm saying that idea did not enter mainstream consciousness and become a dominant idea because of John Locke. It became a dominant idea, at least in America, in the 50s because of people like Skinner and because of operant conditioning becoming a thing and people having a more like, oh, we can condition people to do certain things. Therefore, this idea that everyone was a blank slate started to become popular. It was based around these experiments. It wasn't based around the philosophy. And then it was only when in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where people started to look more into genetics and our technology increased, and we said, oh shit, like DNA and genes have like way more of an influence on everything than we ever thought of, that all the blank slate shit kind of started to drain away in psychology, but all the philosophies and political movements that kind of built up in the 50s and 70s that used blank slateness for their own benefit still retain the idea for cynical reasons.
No, but liberalism is also based on the blank slate theory.
It might be, but I'm saying that people before like the 50s, the majority of Americans were not walking around thinking in blank slate theory. Everyone believed you're a product. You have not necessarily blood of your mother and father, and you have the temperament of your mother and father's DNA.
The concept of the universal man is presupposed on it.
Sorry, no, I completely reject this. I don't believe liberalism was based on the blank slate theory of man.
Well, but I'm saying even if it was, it's irrelevant.
I think you're wrong. Then,
No. Hang on. I understand that John Locke did believe in blank slate theory, but he made
the progenitor of modern liberalism believed in blank slate theory, but it's not based on that.
Oh, bloody hell! Yeah, and Isaac Newton poured mercury in his eyes. He didn't think it was good for him. He thought that he based John Locke based liberal thought completely separate to that. It doesn't matter. That was the point. It doesn't matter if man is blank slate or not.
It's based on the idea of it.
It's not based on the idea of it.
Man is the idea of a blank slate.
Wait.
It's not based on that.
Obviously, Americans, okay? We're not walking around in the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and early 1900s thinking that human beings were born as blank slates. That was not the common belief at all. And yet they all lived in a liberal society. You don't agree with that?
No.
How did they had literal slaves, and they were like, well, these black people are
literally
far inferior to white people. And then they were like, well, we can't let these, non-waspy, British or German white Europeans come in because they're inferior, and these Asian people are like, they didn't believe in any of this blank slate stuff.
I'm not saying that they thought that this was something ex nihilo, right? It's not that they were born from nothing. The doctrine of blank slatism, and again, this is like you're acting like liberalism is a consistent doctrine, right? It's not.
Well, wait. That's your argument.
No, okay. I'm arguing that liberalism is not a consistent doctrine.
Okay.
It's based on inconsistent principles that do not adhere to reality. Right.
Your argument. Wait, let me make sure I understand your argument. Your argument is that because liberalism is based on false principles like blank slate ideas, that it allows people to take advantage of liberalism, nefariously.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And I'm saying that people didn't believe in blank slate ideas until very recently in American history, and it had nothing to do with liberalism.
Yeah.
Liberalism is based on it, though.
It doesn't matter.
The mass of people believe.
No. You're making that assumption because John Locke was the proponent of liberalism, classical liberalism, and at the same time believe in blank slate theory. But he came up with the two theories completely separately. It doesn't matter.
The concept of the universal human is based on the idea that man is born blank and imprinted by society. And therefore, without the society, he is just the man in the woods. Right? That's what it's based on.
Even under John Locke's assumption, he doesn't believe that. Even on the nurture alone, John Locke didn't believe that.
Have you read his essay concerning human understanding?
Not human understanding, but
I have.
I'm
telling you that he does say that, right?
Okay.
His theory was that at birth, the human mind is a blank slate without rules for processing data, right? He thought these rules all came from society. And this is why in the state of nature, we would all be equal because we don't have a society programming us, right? Now, I don't agree with that. It doesn't even matter.
I agree with
right? It doesn't even matter really, right? But the point is he does think that, right? And it's just one of those wrong assumptions. And I'm not saying that John Locke's an idiot or anything like that. John Locke was, he was a genius. All of these people that we talk about,
genuinely genius. Yeah.
Yeah, all of them were, right? Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, even Rousseau. They are all in a way
not
genius,
Rousseau. That's a bridge too far.
No, he's the best.
Jesus, Adam, you so based.
Rousseau believed in the communist idea of man is just, man free from society is just an angel.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure Rousseau was a nonce too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Rousseau was a nonce. He was definitely a terrible dad. But it all follows from these wrong assumptions. That's the problem.
Did Hobbes believe any of this stuff? Didn't he not believe in any
Hobbes
of this
believed men.
Hobbes believed man on man. Yeah. Life is brutish and short. That was Hobbes.
Yeah. Hang on. It's completely solar opposite with them though, because Rousseau believed man in the wood is perfect. Hobbes believed man in the wood is terrible.
Well, I wouldn't say perfect. He would say innocent.
I'm still just a little hung up that we've had this conversation for I think 5 years and clearly separated out equality of opportunity from equity or equality of outcome. And you're kind of making the argument that liberalism can't escape equity.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, it can't escape equality. I don't know what you're meaning by it.
So wait. Wasn't Hobbes a big, proponent of liberalism too?
No, he was a social contract theorist who
Yeah.
was in favor of an absolute monarchy.
Oh, he wanted absolute monarchy.
Yeah,
nice.
It was the only way to control man's savage urges.
Okay.
So is that not your
Might
position?
have been right.
So is that?
Sorry?
So it's not your position that
position.
that equity or equality of outcome is the problem, and that you're in favor of equality of opportunity, right?
No, because that ends up, if you think it through, that ends up in equality of outcome. So
okay,
because we'd have to all start at the same place to have equal opportunity, which means we'd have to all be given fucking Soviet style tenement by the state and the same food. Right?
Since I haven't read a lot of the Locke stuff, do you think that his view of wanting liberalism came first, or his view about tabula rasa and all that stuff came first?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and do a bit of reading through my notes to think about it. But I don't think it matters, because I don't think you can.
I think it does matter though.
Listen, I don't think you can divide the two, right? You can't extract one from the other. Because they logically entail one another if they were true, but they're not true, right? But the thing is, we don't need to have a solution for all mankind.
Of course.
Well, that's the problem, though. Liberalism is trying to be the solution for all mankind.
Is it?
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not
Is
trying
it?
to be. It's just saying
Yes.
it's just what's working, and people say we want this, and then people say,
I-
well, I don't want this because it stems from my tradition. The dirty Federation is stamping on my Ferengi traditions, and I don't like it.
Carl, are you in favor of procedural equality, equal protection under the law, at least as an aspiration? I know obviously people will say we're not achieving that, but
I mean, obviously, I'm English, so I'm in favor of the equal procedures, right? But this doesn't have to be based in liberal doctrine or the assumption of all people being equal.
what would you base it in?
Just human fairness.
Well, I mean, you're trying to get to what liberalism
English
I
tradition.
perceive of is trying to get to is a situation where you're maximizing individual rights and freedoms so that people can go out and produce, because people who can produce, and
But why is
gain
it
the
for
fruits of
productive
their own
quality?
labor, they're
Why?
more likely to produce.
Why is it for productive quality? Why is it not because it is in and of itself right for people to be free?
I think people in general want to produce at least enough that they can sustain themselves and perhaps a family. So some amount of production needs to take place.
But that would imply that if they didn't, it would be justified to force them to work and put them in slavery.
Liberalism is about, I said, maximizing individual freedom. I don't see how you could say, okay, we're going to maximize individual freedom by enslaving these people and forcing them to work.
You said for productive capacity, right?
For their own projects, though, their own personal projects.
Yeah, but what if they don't have a personal project?
Then they would be lazy pieces of shit, but they would still have maximum individual freedom to be lazy pieces of shit.
But okay, but the justification can't be on the material consequence. It should be on the deontological in and of itself.
First of all, I'm not even talking about some sort of enforcement mechanism here. I'm only talking about, philosophically, aspirationally, like if we could push a button and everyone was motivated to go in this direction. I'm talking about, liberalism is about maximizing individual freedom. And I believe the reason that it works, that it's so powerful, is because free people pursuing their own projects ends up being the most productive society that we can have.
But do you not think the communists make that exact argument about communism?
First of all, don't make me bring up the whataboutism counter, okay? I really can't stand
what I'm saying
whataboutism.
Is you're saying I've got this argument to maximize your freedom, but it actually will restrict you in this way and this way and this way. And the communists are like, well, I can get rid of all of those things, and I'm maximizing your freedom even more maximally. And so they're just further down the road than you are.
What is the point of bringing up the communism thing?
Because they will checkmate you. They'll outflank you.
But it appears like you're bringing it up just because you don't want to make an argument yourself that could be conflated with anything that is aesthetically communistic related. That's what it seems like, but I hope I'm wrong.
No. What I'm saying is the way that you're looking at this. I don't think the purpose of liberalism is necessarily maximal freedom. Right. I think that's just a good residue of it. I think what liberalism, the point of it, is because it didn't pop into existence out of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. What it was, as Michael Oakeshott describes, is the distillation of English political traditions.
Right.
And the purpose of English political traditions was not the maximization of freedom. That's not the aim of it. The aim of it is to have a harmonious and well-ordered state and society in which people could feel comfortable and free.
Look, I look up liberalism, and the thing that comes up is political philosophy. Liberalism is a political and moral philosophy based on the rights of the individual, liberty, consent of the governed, and equality before the law. So, I mean,
but this isn't a theoretical abstraction of English political traditions.
Well, I want, when you're talking about the failure of that, I mean, I would like to, we're either having a definitional difference here, because, I don't see how you could look at that and say that's a bad thing.
So, what's happening? What's happening?
Sitch, go ahead.
Carl, I'm kind of surprised by this. Carl, you're kind of making Sam Harris's argument that his argument against Jordan Peterson and their truth debate, and his kind of argument where he thinks that we can create some kind of atheist moral system, which I'm not sure either myself or Adam agree with, because we're like, I'm not sure people can, follow cold hard logic on the basis of logic. Maybe there is a value in having these, moral lies about, God or heaven and hell or whatever that people believe in order to sort of promote positive behavior in people.
So how could we ever justify allowing people to be atheists?
Well,
what do you mean?
With
liberalism,
liberalism,
have to be on Locke's position that atheists are immoral by definition.
I know. I'm not saying anyone who's atheist is automatically amoral or more moral. I'm saying I don't think a widespread society or human beings are necessarily at the point in our history. Maybe we'll eventually reach the Star Trek future, but I don't think our culture is at that position yet. I think people do need some kind of lie, do need some kind of moral framework that maybe is based on spiritualism or blah, 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 whatever the fuck you want to base it off.
You've arrived at what is called a Sorites fallacy, where it's like, okay, if 1,000 atheists is too many and immoral, at what point does it become okay to allow the atheists to just, subsist? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 100? 200? But if everyone's an atheist and nobody's moral, then that can't be allowed.
Okay,
you finish, Sitch.
Well, I was going to say, I'm not making any prescriptions about anything like that. I'm saying that you seem to be wanting to ground some kind of perfect moral framework on the basis of some like rigid truth claims. And my position is, I don't think that makes any difference at all regarding how people use that system to their advantage or disadvantage.
Right.
Well, whatsoever.
First thing then, I'm not saying anything about perfection. Right. This isn't
okay. We'll remove perfection. We'll remove perfection. Okay.
There will be a moral system that is grounded in some assumptions, and it will have certain consequences that flow from those assumptions. Right.
Agreed.
The liberal doctrine has been very successful. Right. The assumptions that liberalism was based on were not true, but they were noble. Right. It was not a nice idea, but we are now reaching the stage where we can see the problem.
What was not true specifically?
Well, it was the 4 things he laid out.
Jesus.
Right.
Earlier.
Okay.
Men in the woods, no one's universal, doctrine of equality and democracy. Right. They're noble, but they're not true.
Okay.
Now, the
you're saying that's the grounding that gets you to maximizing individual freedom.
No, it's kind of, but it's the grounding that gets us to where we've got like the social justice remodeling of our society, right? Because these things promise things that aren't really real or accomplishable.
Okay.
Like, notice how the socialists are constantly going, "Oh, this is a threat to our democracy. Democracy. I'm like, okay, look, if I never have to hear the word democracy again, I'll give up my vote. Right?
But they're not arguing that from a philosophical position.
No, they aren't. Obviously.
They're arguing it from everyone has to argue within the framework of the accepted philosophical position of the country at the moment. Or they get ostracized and called a crazy person.
Yeah, because before they would have said God doesn't want it. Even if it is a liberal society, it's just the way. Even
if it is a liberal society, the most maximal liberal society, that's just the way people think about things culturally.
Hang on. No, that's not true.
That is 100% true,
mate. That's what the crisis of democracy in the early 20th century was.
Man,
like you're wrong about that. Again, like
how am I wrong about it?
Because that's. What do you mean? How are you wrong? The fascists didn't get fucking ostracized; they got elected.
That's a non sequitur.
Wait, did the fascists come out and say we want to go round up all the Jews, and that's where we're running on this platform of rounding up the Jews? Was that really? That was Hitler said, "Elect me, I'm going to genocide the fucking Jews and start taking."
What do you think? What do you think Kristallnacht was?
How can you not know that the fascist, like this is what the crisis of democracy was in the early 20th century? That these irreconcilable positions, the Soviets, the Bolsheviks, and the fascists were taking over the continent of Europe, which they did. And in fact, it's a mystery why they didn't take over in England, incidentally. Right? But there was no significant fascist movement in England.
Well, regardless, I think Sitch's position is still correct.
Yeah, no, because first of all, they didn't say we're going to go round up all the Jews. They said this system, this liberal system, is failing. Okay, we need to start, adhering to this other thing. And they would explain their philosophy that in steps.
Hitler was explicitly anti-Semitic.
They would explain the philosophy and steps that people could tolerate until you get down the rabbit hole of, oh shit, this is where we are.
This is
very well documented. This is how all these fucking movements operated from the beginning.
Hitler did scapegoat the Jews as society falling apart in the same way that Quackademic agent scapegoats liberalism in society falling apart. So, there is no difference.
Yeah, I mean, the fascists were quite open that democracy was a failure, and they had a better idea, right? And they won in the 20th century.
Was it a better idea?
World War II.
Well, was it a better idea?
Not in my opinion,
material conditions,
but it was persuasive to a large number of people on the European continent.
That's a completely different question. Yeah, exactly. Well, they're willing to try anything.
But
the
point is, it was a doctrine that was well outside of the remit of liberalism that was accepted by a large number of people. It wasn't just marginalized. I have a very just simple idea here that I would like a critique of, because all I hear about from the Daves of the world and the academic agents of the world, just real quick, Sitch, like I believe that maximizing individual freedom is the best for society, because free people pursuing their own projects makes them happiest and makes the most productive society. And I've never heard any good counter argument other than social justice warriors bad, society falling apart.
Wait, we're changing the subject. Okay? Right. This is very important.
Okay.
Why are the CRT people and the academics that are leftists and communists, why do they hide their beliefs?
They don't. They just want to make things better for everyone.
They do. Why do they hide that they want to get rid of capitalism and implement socialism? Why do they hide that they're explicitly and implicitly anti-liberal? Why do they hide all these things?
That Sitch, especially in England, that's not hidden.
I don't know what's going on in England. In America, this is all hidden.
I don't know.
All hidden.
Is it?
That's why people like
when Joy Reid,
James Lindsay, and all these people feel like fucking crazy people. If you talk to a normie and you say, "Did you know that CRT is pro-black separatist, black nationalist, and is pro-Marxist?" and they go, "What are you talking about? That's crazy."
If it's so well hidden, how do you know about it? You know about it
because I actually do what no one in the fucking world does, except for 10 people on the internet, which is read the boring academic material that they write and try to interpret it. It's written in very obnoxious ways.
Yeah, but so do
well,
I.
it's not very well hidden. It's not very well hidden.
Go, Sitch. Sitch, who is the woman?
Okay, fair enough.
Sitch, who was the woman that went on Joy Reid and asked her?
Yeah, we have Kimberly fucking Crenshaw.
Why did Kimberly Crenshaw not answer the question? Yes, of course it's Marxist.
Because she knew it'd play badly.
You're exactly right.
Exactly.
You're playing right into the hands of. Why don't they hide what they're, or why do they hide what they're doing? Well, I don't think they do. All they're trying to do is
okay, so we fundamentally disagree.
Wait, hang
on.
Aryan, so Kimberly Crenshaw is on Joy Reid's national program, and Joy Reid asked her directly what is supposed to be the softball question, where she laughingly says, "Is CRT Marxist?" And Kimberly Crenshaw fucking punts and doesn't answer the question.
But she's not lying. She's not lying.
Yeah, she right.
She is lying. She is lying by omission.
Yeah. Sure, but that's not a direct lie. She didn't say no when it is.
But she's hiding
now you're
the
defending
ball.
Kimberly Crenshaw.
I agree, but that's not. They are talking about the framing, right? Because they're very interested in controlling framing. So if you directly ask them, "You're a Marxist," they're going to be like, "Oh, I don't." They'll dodge.
Yeah. Why? Why do they do that?
Hang on.
Because that doesn't give them
because
power.
It's fucking America, Adam.
Exactly.
And you went through the Cold War. But that doesn't mean they don't sit there and go, "We want equality," which is just a Marxist fucking phrase.
Yeah.
So it's just framing, Adam. They're good at optics. They're not stupid. They're very smart. That's
the whole point.
Marxism is a trigger word for the Republicans to propagandize.
Yes. If just to make this point, this isn't about ideology. It doesn't matter what they're promoting. All they're after is power. Look. Yeah,
but your argument is that liberalism doesn't protect us from that. When If that's the case, then why can't they just openly talk about that stuff?
Because
hang on.
It's not that there are not forces in society
protecting us. Can I get a protecting us out of that?
Are you saying that the Republicans are defending you?
Some force of society.
That the Republicans are the only thing standing between you and communism.
I would say more that it's a social taboo against Marxist philosophy. That's I think why she punts and doesn't say that.
And yet all of the social media platforms are run by Marxists.
Yes, secretly.
I don't think Jack is a Marxist. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg is a Marxist. I don't think any of these billionaires are Marxists. But
Jack is definitely a Marxist. Listen, if Hassan is a Marxist, Jack is a Marxist. Come on.
They are what they would call neo-Marxists, like some sort of
think
development from it. No, they are. Kimberly Crenshaw absolutely is. And
Kimberly Crenshaw is a neo-Marxist. She's not running a social media platform.
Intersectionalism is neo-Marxism.
Sitch, can we go back? Can we go back to
intersectionalist? They've rebranded because the term Marxism is of course toxic to the classically liberal Republicans, but the Democrats are all on board with intersectionality.
It's because they don't. Oh wait.
Joe Biden is implementing an intersectional agenda.
The Labour Party has a race.
None of this has to do with the philosophy of any of this shit. This is all cold, cynical
philosophy.
No, it's not. We need to beat Republicans over the head with the racist stick.
So we can be,
That's not a philosophy.
Yeah.
Intersectionality is a philosophy.
No, but no, stop. The entire basis of why I'm even talking about this in the first place is because you're trying to bring forward this argument that the reason that we're in the position that we're in is because liberalism is based on some false assumptions, hundreds of years ago. And I'm saying none of that really matters whatsoever because that's not why anything's happening the way things are happening right now.
Sitch, I hate to say it, but every ideology is based
don't say it. If you hate to say it, why are you saying
it? Why do I? Because it's true.
Wait. Every philosophy is based on what?
Some false assumption.
I agree.
You're not
to say that. That's my position.
Yeah, but
I know.
The critical race theorists and intersectionality are able to conquer liberalism because of the weaknesses in liberalism that I've identified in the stream.
Well, I keep hearing this feckless, weak liberalism, but I just I can't.
That's not how social change occurs. Okay, the way social change occurs is that you always have these fringe elements at all moments that are always trying to pull society in one direction or the other. The CRT people have been trying to pull the communists have been trying to pull this fucking country for almost 100 years. Okay. Yeah. And what happens is some fucked up thing happens where the material conditions get fucked and people's faith in whatever the current system is gets shaken and they become spooked, and people are really good at saying something is wrong but not understanding why it's wrong, and they start getting pulled off in these very fringe directions to try to explain why they have problems in their lives.
Right.
Okay? That's why these changes occur.
Yeah.
That's a very 20th century view on it.
How is it wrong? How's it wrong within the last
50 years
of American experience?
Sitch, it's not wrong in the 20th century.
Thank you.
And also, this is kind of the populist delusion, right? That changes grassroots.
Oh my! Please don't. No.
Hey,
he's trying to get unblacklisted already.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm trying to get unblacklisted.
Yeah. Apparently same. Carry on.
The problem is this is a change that's coming from the top, right? Susan Wojcicki is the one who decided to promote LGBT stuff, right?
This is off base.
The way
Who cares
that it works
where it's
is that
coming
the elites
from?
do become captured by a combination of financial incentives and essentially moral blackmail.
Yes.
They create the argument. But you are right, Sitch, that they spent 100 years in the woods after the failure of communism at the beginning of the 20th century, being like, how the fuck can we win? And they worked out the key to unlock liberalism to allow communism to go forward in it. And that's where we are now. That's why
you're giving them
too
much
credit.
No
longer a liberal platform.
You're giving them too much credit. They just throw shit at the wall, and then the right conditions happen where the right things.
Come on, you've read their stuff. It's not.
I have.
Stupid.
It took 30 years for this shit to fucking catch on.
Yeah, but they created a way of genuinely forcing liberals to accept the antonym of the thing in the definition of the thing, which
no,
is
they
a fucking
didn't, because
miracle.
the current situation is not based around philosophy. It's based around beating Republicans with the racist stick.
No, everything is.
No.
No,
Well,
I completely agree with you.
I hate to say it, but it's midnight now, so I've got to head off and go to bed.
Well, you're not going to stick around for Lance? Lance is going to join this stream in
He's
an
going
hour.
to be so upset.
Oh my
It's
god!
midnight.
I
He
love
just
to work
missed
tomorrow.
you. No,
I've
it's
got
better.
7.5 hours sleep ahead of me, and
It's better that you shuffle on. But thank you for joining in. Obviously, it's always fun to talk to you. So
anytime. And sorry if we're like yelling and stuff like that. It's so fucking
No, it's
never,
okay. I'm glad
never
that we got
apologize.
to
The chat loves it, man.
I think we got to the.
well, hey, there's that. Yes,
I'm glad that I think we really got to the bottom of your position. I don't know if it was made clear until now about how liberalism is based on these false assumptions.
But also, I think we can all agree that these are false assumptions, and it's not that we can't change them and still retain good things.
You want to know my fault? You want to know my
but...
false assumption, Carl? That Quackademic agent is not a racist.
Wow, really?
That is a false assumption. You're right.
Wow. He should take that very, very well.
There you go.
Right. Have a good evening, guys.
See you later. Sorry, you're blacklisted now.
Yeah.
So I've been here this whole time, and the massive base assumption that's wrong is that liberalism. Well, you're assuming that the argument that liberalism failed because of inherent flaws with ideology. It just ignores that liberalism isn't about ideology. It's not about ideology.
Well, kind of. I don't know. I mean, everything's about ideology, right? To some extent.
Well, the thing with liberalism and libertarianism is just you let people do what they will. Which I think is where you guys kind of fall flat on your face when you say, "Oh, well, you can't have people self-segregate because that's not liberal."
Mm-hmm.
But the whole point of liberalism is that you can self-segregate because you don't want communists in the commune.
Wait a second. It's you're trying to maximize individual freedom, but I mean, there are limits to maximizing individual freedom. Obviously, people can't go around murdering one another, so it's not like you're saying. Infinite amount of freedom to the point where you've got anarchy. So
no,
it's not a contradiction. Like I've heard a lot of people say that, obviously you can't really be for individual freedom if I can't go start my own Waco compound.
Well, that's why I put the limit of liberalism down to a commune rather than an individual. I don't think it's possible to be an individual without a family, at the very least. That's why I say but missed a surname.
I mean, we definitely have an ethos that's very in America. That's very individually oriented, even to the point where people are more people are not expected to just point blank to take care of their parents. I mean, that's just not something.
No, and that's not the case with the UK either, and that was the case, especially over COVID. We expected my grandmother to be taken care of by people who were working in care homes. And then when it came to the funeral, it's like all of a sudden everyone cared about the grandmother. But half the people didn't see her in the past year. It's a strange kind of thing with that, I guess.
What are you doing in the chat, Sitch?
Oh, Dev wanted to come on, and I sent him a link, and now he doesn't want to come on. So.
Oh, really?
Dev, come on.
He can't come on because we have to wrap this up, and we have a shitload of super chats to read. So,
well, I was gonna have Dev come on for like 5 minutes and then kick him off.
Oh, okay.
But if he wants to come on for 5 minutes, I'm fine with it.
We're going in. This is terrible. We're fucking debated out, exhausted, and Lance is gonna get here, and we're gonna be like, "Ugh."
That's fine. We have a friendly conversation with Lance.
I can stand with Lance. I covered his Gamergate video.
No, you're not. We're not allowing you to stand with Lance.
Are you not allowing me?
FYI, yeah, exactly.
You know what? We can't 3v2. Okay.
I feel bad. I feel bad enough. I mean, Sargon kind of jumped in and stole your thunder, but obviously, if you whatever you, I'm just getting so tired of this whole, like, all the miscommunication and misunderstanding is being blamed on us when certain people's positions are completely unclear. It's this is where I'm good. I think
you two were kind of more in the clear.
Let me ask you. I have. It seems like we've had a conversation for like 5 years about the difference between equity and equality of opportunity. It seems like equality of outcome and equality of opportunity are two ideas that have been really, two camps have been created there. Yet, why can't we just use that conceptualization that's floating out there in the culture right now? Why is it so complicated?
So how do you mean? Like,
well, we completely agree that the communists are looking for equity. That's what they're after. They're after equality of outcome. And I don't think that's good for society. And we speak out against it all the time. But then people will say, oh, well, people will blame us and say we're for equity when that's not what we're for.
Well, no, it's a kind of undermining of liberalism, as Sargon says. I don't believe in, like, as autistically as it is, I don't believe in autistic kind of equality of opportunity. I don't believe every child should be taken away from their parent and given the same education. I think it's up to the parent what they think is best for their child, if that makes sense. I think that's kind of what's best for the nation. It's ultimately, I mean, I say that, and then AA's lot are like, oh, well, that also includes with sex, where they're like, oh, as long as they're over 10, the parent agrees, that's fine. If it's, pederasty is fine in that case. And it's like, not that far. But when it comes to educating them, it's like homeschooling's fine up to any age. Go on.
Well, Grimnir here in the chat says it perfectly. He says, the issue, Adam, is you keep saying equity is different to equality when it's not. Sargon's position is fairness. Now, the last part of that, Sargon's position is fairness. Let's just leave that out of it. You're basically saying that there is absolutely no difference in the position of wanting equality of opportunity and wanting equality of outcome. And that to me just seems bonkers. If you can't in your mind conceptualize a difference between everybody has exactly the same stuff and everyone has the exact same opportunity to compete, to succeed in a competence hierarchy, if you think both of those things are exactly the same, how do we even have a conversation? Like, those things are so massively different that, I mean, you can't even have a conversation.
So you're saying, just to make the point, you're saying that everyone can't have the opportunity of outcome because no one has the same equality of opportunity. Like, some people will, in Britain, go to a private school where the parents pay for the education funds and have a better education than people who are state funded.
Well, the reason you want equality of opportunity is because I think of society as like a human resources problem. And if you have somebody that's very smart, has great ideas, and is, motivator or high risk taker and whatever, if they don't have the opportunity to, seek out their own fame and fortune competing in the myriad of competence hierarchies that we have in the United States, then you lose that person's contribution of theoretical contribution to society.
So from my point of view, I love it if that certain person who is going to invent the space rocket to colonize Mars, I love it if they could get a job at SpaceX, but I just don't know how you'd ever make a
that's a completely different. So, like I said, it's aspirational. And every time somebody says, oh, I don't think that's even possible, it completely ignores the fact that has nothing to do with whether or not it's something that you want to strive for.
No, so this.
So should we not? So we should not strive for anything that's impossible to do that.
No,
Is that what you're saying?
No. I am completely against that. I do want to strive for the impossible, but at the same time, that thing is impossible. But we should get as close to that impossible, top tier whatever as we can get. It's like,
that
okay,
aspiration.
so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know if liberalism is necessarily the way to get there. I don't know. I think it's the best way we've found so far. And this is what Sargon says. There could be better ways, but under liberalism, we make the assumption there's no better way.
Well, this is the thing. The you know, Quackademic agent is trying to solve the problem of the social justice aesthetic that bothers him. And
sure,
I mean, it seems like a complete non sequitur how he, I mean, I guess it's not a non sequitur. He thinks individual freedom is what gives these people the ability to do the things that offend his aesthetic sensibilities. And if we limit individual freedom, he's basically saying we've gone too far. We want to maximize individual freedom, but this is too far. We need to, you know, lay down the law and have less individual freedom. Which, fair enough. I mean, that's a debate that we're having. But I don't see how you get, you know, how you modify the position that liberalism has provided a little bit too much individual freedom, and we need to get rid of individual freedom altogether, which is what liberalism is.
Well, that's the issue with AA. It seems to be going that far, but it's a strange mix because every group has an in-group preference. It's just a reality. I mean, I'm Catholic, and we don't exactly get on with the Anglicans or the Jews in my area, but we still managed to make a Catholic church hall in my area,
right? Due
to our own in-group preference and due to our collective action in making a local fair that raised money.
What does the in-group preference have to do with individual freedom? Because you can have individual freedom, and that individual freedom can allow you to have an in-group preference, and there's no it's not illegal to have an in-group preference.
No, exactly. And this is where I think AA goes kind of wrong. He says, oh, there are Jews and they have an in-group preference, so they'll prefer each other. Well, it's like, well, that's kind of true, but if you look in Britain with Orthodox Jews, they vote more for Tory than Labour, whereas the more secular Jews vote Labour. So it's kind of like, well, when you look at in-group preference there, it's very determined on who you look at an individual level, and that's the same with a lot of religions as well. It's close to 60-40 than kind of 90-10 in terms of their preferences. But they seem to make the assumption that, for lack of a better term, they all prefer their own in-group than their out-group. But their in-group's less to do with religion, more to do with ideology. Hence, most Jews in this country vote Labour. Most Catholics in this country vote Labour.
Are you saying that people favoring their in-group preference is limiting individual freedom? Is that why you're bringing up I mean, what's the point of even bringing that up? Their political powers limiting your individual freedom? Why? I don't understand the argument.
Well, no. Well, it's not. So, to be fair to me, I am just trying to play a devil's advocate here. Because I am in quite a, for lack of a better term, Jewish area, but we're still conservative, and compared to the rest of the Jewish population of the country, that's odd. Most of the Jews in this country vote Labour, so
this just it sounds like you're saying that the distaste for certain people is over your distaste for the way that they're political. The way that they vote politically.
Well, I mean, I don't have a distaste for anyone if they vote Labour, but that's how they vote. But what I'm saying,
why'd you bring it up then?
Well, because AA's on the mind, and AA obviously brings up.
He's a big racist.
Give us that, So give us the inside as someone who's been inside that community and.
Well,
I mean, don't name names or don't we don't want to get anyone to platform, but
well, before we do that, I just want to say, when I want to tie a bow on the conversation that we had with Carl,
Okay.
which is that I understand where he's coming from completely, which I think I didn't fully understand till this conversation. I do think it's kind of funny that he's basically in the Sam Harris camp of things.
That freaked me out.
Right.
So weird.
Which is interesting.
Since I'm firmly in the Jordan Peterson
right.
camp.
I think it's very noble, and it completely appeals to my aesthetics of wanting to be everything to be true and everything to be based on objective truth and all this stuff. And so I'm not really against any of that idea whatsoever. To have a philosophy based on objective truth is great. I just don't think it matters in terms of why we're where we are now. And as he seemed to agree with, we could create almost the exact same liberal philosophy we have now based on his true assumptions, and we would still be in the same exact situation we are right now with the wokeness. So I don't think that the assumptions an ideology makes in its origin hundreds of years ago is going to prevent or create these openings for these movements to twist and turn and be dishonest and be deceptive or overthrow the systems of power that currently exist, because human history has shown that doesn't really make much
you made an important point that he kind of scoffed at, that I was not happy about, because it's so it's so true. Every time society gets close, every time people feel like society's falling apart, which a lot of people feel, that I can respect that, people look for a scapegoat. And a lot of people just so happen to find the thing that they hate and have hated their entire lives as the scapegoat.
What a surprise.
Yeah, it always seems to be the thing that particular person dislikes.
They were right all
liberalism, with Hitler, it was the Jews, like there's all this. So it just seems like the human nature always looks for a scapegoat. And that scapegoat, I mean, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be the real problem, right?
It's a rare time I say this, but in defense of Hitler.
Oh no!
Come on!
Disavow!
Why you got to do that? Why you got to do that?
Why have I got to do that? Because Germany's always been anti-Semitic. It's been anti-Semitic since 1700. He was playing off it. It's simple as.
He was the animus of the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was this is the thing. The scapegoat has to be accepted by a wide berth of the population, and that is a problem. That is definitely a problem.
Well, this is the thing that I have against AA, because he says, society is totally top down. It's like, well, it's not, because the bottom up have to accept your framing of reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because this is the problem with AAs. They say, the normies don't matter, but at the same time they'll say, we've got to get the propaganda right to accept the normies, and it's like, that's a bit of a
right.
It doesn't quite work out in the brain.
So do you want to make a closing argument or something before we say goodbye, Harian? Thank you for coming in.
Am I off? Well, no, that's fine. I guess I just chill.
Nice.
Yeah, no, you have a YouTube channel. Yeah.
I do, yes. Please subscribe to Harry Gladiv, as it says on the channel. I am also part of the wellingtonproject.co.uk. We make articles and letter writing campaigns to our MPs. We want to do best what's good for our country. As I'm sure you, Adam and Sitch, do as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. No, I hope you get me back on at some point, but no, it's good to be on.
We don't like foreign nationals. We don't like foreign nationals stoking racial tension in good old America.
Well, you'll never have me on again then.
Well, no. You've been a good guest, so.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, yeah. It's been fun.
It's been fun.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Yes.
Love you too. Stay safe.
Love you, Sitch.
Wow, stop it, Susan.
You're not welcome. Yeah, sorry.
My God.
Yeah. I'm never allowed back on. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes. Jeez, get out of here. Anyways, that was fun.
I can't believe he did that. Jeez.
I know.
What the fuck?
What a bastard. Okay. Well, I guess we'll read some super chats before. Do we know what time Lance and Matt are coming?
Yeah, I think around. I can't. I'm like so floored about that. I really am, because you know who's coming on this stream? Lance. You know who got Sargon's stream taken down because Sargon used the F word on the stream?
Oh,
Lance.
Well, it doesn't matter because we're going to be always on the list of stream anyway.
Yeah,
so.
but we can't repost it.
We can repost it. What do you mean?
Yeah. No, we can't.
Okay. Well, should we ask Lance? Say, Lance, listen, we had a guest on before you, and he said the F slur.
Yeah.
Okay. To try to get us in trouble, we disavowed it.
It definitely seems that way. I mean,
right. We disavowed it. Lance, do not go crying to Susan, please. Lance, should we bring this up when we talk to him?
Sure, I guess we can.
Okay.
I mean,
We'll
it's
say,
not,
Lance,
I don't.
please.
It sounds super soy to do,
Listen,
but let's just
Lance,
ignore it.
Lance, I'm begging you, please. Don't go to Susan. We want people to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways.
We're not going to put a link to his channel in the description. That's for sure.
There you go. How dare you use the F slur?
It's so like, it's just like, why do that? Why do that?
Well, he's British. It's like as natural as saying, calling someone a cunt or something.
Yeah, I guess it is. Okay, whatever. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.